Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to the Global League podcast. I'm your host William, and today I have Ryan.
We're
We're
alive.
alive, barely. Ryan's been going through a lot of work stress lately, for sure. And this is gonna be I did do a group reaction page, reaction stream to the group draws and stuff, and me and Raptor kind of went back and forth a bit there. But today is going to be all about we're gonna do a top 22 team power rankings, which I did do with Raptor, but if you weren't there, I didn't put it to YouTube either, so you'll get to see it again. You'll also get to see Ryan's top 22. We're also going to do top 20 players at Worlds, possibly a Worlds breakdown of player by player at each position. If you're up for that, Ryan, we'll see on that one's a maybe still, and because we still got to do predictions for all the play-in stage, pretty much up until the playoffs of the play-in stage. This is all just the round robin predictions.
Yeah. I'll say even then I already have it in line of who I have to pick just based on who I have winning. I
Yeah.
also already have preemptively picked who I think is actually going to qualify.
That's fair. That's fair. Also, playing schedule is already in. Yep. We've already made the predictions for that as well. I'm assuming, yeah, you did too.
Knocked him out.
Okay, so what would you like to go through? What do you think we should do first? Should we do the players, the power rankings? Predictions are probably going to be last, but so players or power rankings? What do you want?
Um, let's go ahead and. Do you want to just do like a quick recap again of the group stage? Maybe just give our last
Okay.
little thoughts
Yeah.
now that we've had a bit of week for it.
Yes. So the play-ins first off is Group A is Team Liquid, Mad Lions, Legacy, Supermassive, and INTZ. Group B is LGD, PSG, V3, Unicorns of Love, and Rainbow Seven. So that is what's going to happen this week over about 8 days, because it will end on Monday of next week, I believe, and then
I want to say it's Monday. Then the best of five start on Tuesday.
Yes, I believe that is correct. And then we have the winner of each group. The first place automatically qualifies to the group stage. Do not have to play anything. The third and fourth place team. So if we just do it from very basic example here, if Legacy and Supermassive are the third and fourth place teams, they would face each other in a best of five, and the winner would face the second place team from the other
opposite
group.
group.
So that would be PSG in this example, just from where they got picked. And then same thing, the V3 and Unicorns of Love winner would face Mad Lions on this side. And then the winner of that best of five are the remaining two teams that go to the group stage. Which for the group stage was pretty spicy. We have Group A with G2, Suning, and Machi Esports. We have Damwon Gaming, JDG, and Rogue Warriors. Not Rogue Warriors, they're not here. Rogue as Group B in the Group of Death. Poor Rogue, rest in peace. Group C is TSM, Fnatic, Gen G. And Group D is Top Esports, DRX, and Fly. And then the bottom ones here are, I put this in as LGD can, if they qualify, which 99% chance they do, they will be going to Group C because they can't go to the other groups. Mad, same thing. They can only go to Group D. And then either Team Liquid can go to either Group A or B. But if PSG makes it outside of Unicorns of Love, PSG has to go to Group B and Team Liquid has to go to Group A. So there is really high potential, actually, if all of the major regions make it out of groups, which has happened every year before.
I feel
it's never been done. Hey, thank you very much for the follow, Lahini. I appreciate that. But if all the major regions make it out, then we will have all four of the groups automatically decided. That's actually pretty nice. Will they still do the ball thing if all the groups have been decided off of there?
I don't know, but I wouldn't surprise me if they do, even though it literally makes no sense.
Through for formality.
Yeah. I think the easiest thing would literally just be, okay, well, all the major regions got out, then all the groups are decided, then they would just explain it on broadcast that there's the groups.
Yeah, that's what they should do, hopefully. But
yeah,
we all know they're gonna do the little ball thing where none of it will mean anything.
Yeah.
All right. So Group B is a group of death. Group D is a group of death for the most part. I think there's a lot more wiggle room in Group D than Group B, in my opinion. For teams like Fly and Mad, I think if you had to pick between the four powerhouses of top esports, Damwon, JDG, and DRX, I think DRX is definitely a team that can choke compared to those three.
Yeah.
So I won't. It's not a high percentage, but it's not a net zero, like a 0% chance that either Fly or Mad Lions make it out of.
I think it's been pretty well documented our opinions on certain Korea teams and Korea in general.
Yes, actually, I have. Well, let's do team power rankings because that's what Raptor wants as well. And I'm curious where you have some teams. Okay, let me.
I mean, I basically did mine in a standard like S A B C D tier
list. That is fair. Okay.
And I included the play-ins teams as well.
Gotcha. Me too. I also have them in the tier list. I was also just going to put them in. Yeah. I did both, I guess.
Here's the thing. I would have done a numerical tier list, but I will say right now, there's literally a group of like 7 teams that I find are impossible to rank. Just spoiler, they're all my B tier teams.
Yeah, the B tier is stacked. The B tier, also known as Group C.
Essentially, yeah. You're not wrong. I will say, just kind of a general thought on not the playing stage, but just the group stage draw. Considering that we've been kind of big upping the level of competition and strength of teams at Worlds, the fact that we ended up with essentially a group of life in Group A and then a complete free for all in Group C is kind of astounding. We only had 2 groups of death.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, well, these teams are probably just going to get murdered. And even one of the groups of death, it's still a bit of a free-for-all, except for the number 1 spot.
Yes. And it's a free-for-all to an extent. We could easily be proven wrong with there are certain players I need to step up on DRX. But because
incredibly right.
If they don't step, or if they do step up, if DRX is back into contention to actually challenge for this tournament.
Before Mad Lions and FlyQuest get down. top esports and DRX drop out in group stage.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? That'd be insane. All right. Well, who is your bottom tier team? So did your tier list go to F because mine did? But
mine did not. I was considering it, but I was like, I don't think anyone is legitimately like so terrible that I would put them in an F tier. Otherwise, they wouldn't be at Worlds.
My defense of that was
F-tier, my F tier is like CLG.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, in my philosophy, they are F tier compared to teams at Worlds. They are a high tier in the region. Also, it's not F for failure. It's F for have fun.
For fun. For fun.
Yeah, for fun.
It's all the NA teams in the F tier.
No, but
yes.
All right. I will start off with my bottom team at the moment is V3. Oh, this needs to be bigger. Okay. Why are they so tiny? Let's put that up to size 18. There we go. And then we're going to center them so they look better. But yeah, I think V3 is strong. There's just for a Japanese team, they are on the bottom of the list. There's not really too many negatives, or there's nitpicking and stuff that you can make on these teams to come in the Worlds, but there's not a ton of negatives to the teams because they're at Worlds, But they're strong. But I feel like Japan as a region this year, pretty weak with the almost fall of DFM. DFM struggled all year up until the playoffs, the former Japanese champions, and then they fought back all the way to make V3 work for it in a best of 5. They went all the way to the 5th game, and then they unfortunately fell there. But now V3 is our new champions from Japan. I'm excited to see what they can do. They are in Group B, which is the easier group to an extent to not get last place, in my opinion. But it is the harder group overall, if that makes sense. So we'll see if my goal for them is their goal for Worlds, in my eyes, is to not get 5th in the group and be able to play at least one best of 5.
I mean, we'll get to our predictions for play-ins to see if that actually comes to pass.
Yes.
But I do have V3 relatively similarly ranked. I actually, as weird as it is, I actually have them. I would say in terms of my D tier, like I said, numerical ranking, it's kind of impossible once you get to a certain extent. But I would say, because I do have them in my lowest tier, in D tier, but I do have them. I would say because there is 4 teams in this tier.
Okay, interesting. I have 3 in F, so I'm curious which one you have that's
Yeah.
you put.
Well, I mean, it's like a relative thing. It's because I think like my D is probably closer to your F, and then probably one of our tiers are probably just merged together.
Fair.
On my list. But I would actually have them. I would probably say. I'd probably say like around 20th.
Okay. V3, it's the 20th for you. That's fair.
Yep.
So my next question is, who do you think is the bottom team, the team that has the most to work for at Worlds? Every game. ENCE, INTZ?
Yes.
Oh man, you're hating on ENCE.
Yes. Sorry, Brazil.
Why is that? You just don't like
it. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. My perception is still, like, I know it's kind of dumb to say that because we're way later into the season, and this is Rich coming from a C9 fan, but I just could never get the idea of just INTZ being kind of bad early on, and I feel like it could be easily exposed from this point. Like at least V3 actually were pretty consistently good, and they did actually stop, and they stopped the hype that was Detonation Focus Me as they were ramping to Worlds.
That's fair. That's
the fact
fair.
that they managed to stop DFM in their tracks from getting to Worlds again. So that means a lot to me. And I think Japan is underrated as a region as well.
Okay.
I'd rather say like, hey, DFM, they actually acquitted themselves relatively well last year. If V3 is basically stopping DFM that was reaching that Worlds form, then they'll probably be pretty good at Worlds.
Yeah, and I think that INTZ as well, last time they were on the international stage, was they had the massive upset last year MSI. So like a year and a half ago, they had the massive upset against Flamingo Gaming or Flamingo Esports to take the spot for Brazil, and they completely floundered it. Like they looked really, really bad during that time. But they are the team that we have in a different tier because I have them as the worst of the D tier.
The lowest D tier?
The lowest D tier. And I have INTZ at 19th place. So I think, because I thought Brazil was very competitive this year, I thought they had 4 really good teams that, like between INTZ, Kaboom,
but
Flamingo,
were they all
and
good,
Prodigy.
or were they just Brazil?
We will find out. But I thought Pain, not Flamingo. I said Flamingo. I'm Pain. I just used to BRTT on Flamingo. But yeah, I think I was personally rooting for Pain because I thought Robo was a really good top laner as well. And having BRTT, I know he's a meme and he's 29 years old and he's old as shit. But for a wildcard player, pretty
Thanks,
good.
Will, by the way.
I know. Sorry. And we're all old, man.
Some more than others.
But I thought they were pretty good. But INTZ beat them in a best of 5. INTZ has actually been playing obviously they won the tournament, so they're playing good. I don't think it's going to be... It wasn't as massive an upset as when they beat Flamingo the other year, because that year Flamingo had only lost like 1 game or something like that. And they were definitely the favorite. INTZ was like the 4th seed coming into the tournament, and Brazil's playoffs are only 4 teams, so they were the bottom team making it. But I have them D tier. I think they can win.
I like how we basically had both of our teams flipped.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
just like one spot off.
And it's to me, their goal should be to win a best of 5. One of the 4th, the 5th, or the 3rd and 4th one. That is their goal this year at Worlds, is to win the first one. They probably won't win the second one. I'm assuming they won't win the second one.
Yeah, I think the issue with this is the group that they're in.
Yes, they do have. Well,
their group is fucking rough, dude.
Yeah, like it's a weird thing because like essentially Group B is tougher on the top, but Group A is tougher on the bottom. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
their power curve is more spread.
Yes. Like for Team Liquid and Mad Lions, much easier group. For Legacy, Supermassive, and INTZ, much harder group to get to that 3rd, 4th spot to actually play, because the top on the other side, LGD, PSG, and Unicorns of Love are 3 teams fighting for 2 spots instead of just Team Liquid and Mad Lions should be by themselves fighting for 2 spots. And then
lower ceiling, higher floor.
Yeah, and it's going to be essentially down between whoever wins, basically between V3 and Rainbow Seven will probably be 1-4 for the or 1-3 for the rest of the tournament. So they'll move on to the next round. But yeah, with that being said, our 21
Go ahead, say it.
21st ranked team would be mine personally. 22 is Legacy. I have at 21st.
Yep, I actually have Legacy in the same spot. 21.
Yes, I like Legacy a lot. I think they're really good, but like they dominated pretty much both. They won Spring Split in OPL. They won Summer Split in OPL. Really good team. Unfortunately, when you look at the OPL as a whole, I'm not going to be able to find it.
They're actually trash.
I believe
they're really weak right now.
Well, it's Rusty, I believe it was the owner of Order and caster for OPL games. He messaged or he sent out a screenshot on Twitter about last year's OPL teams and their top 4 teams in the OPL and where those players are today. And like over half those players are not in the league anymore. They are with Destiny over in Origin getting replaced by Jack Troll. On Cloud9 with King,
and Fudge. Well, King is still he's kind of trapped in Australian prison right now because of COVID.
Yes.
But he was a C9 Academy champion in spring with Fudge. Fudge, the two-time Academy champion.
But those were like
their best top laner in Academy.
They lost so many star players in the OPL that this is essentially the B roster that became the A roster for Legacy. So they're still good. It's just that the OPL in general has gone down talent-wise significantly, which is good for the players, bad for the region, because the players are actually seeing opportunities in major regions. Like the fact that Fudge is going, like, absolutely needs to be on a professional team. He's so good. Like Destiny was on a professional team at least until they replaced him with Jack Troll and finished 10th place because of it.
That is true, that is true as well, Raptor. The most isolated region.
Yes.
They're arguably just like a worse NA for similar reasons.
And it's
NA just super isolated, and so is OPL. OPL has access to almost nobody without absurd ping.
Yeah, I just feel like it will be. They are also in the for fun category for me. So they have to try and steal a game off of Supermassive or INTZ. And those two teams I have as a slight tier above them. Spoiler alert for the Supermassive prediction. But so they're gonna be punching up, but they're gonna be doing it with possible upset. They can still make it, but if they don't, they don't,
Yep. And I guess I could go ahead and reveal, since that we both had Legacy in the same spot, the last team in my D tier on my list is Rainbow Seven.
Yes, and
they'd be right above a 19.
I think, unsurprisingly, I have Rainbow Seven as the last team in my F tier. They are the best of the 4 fun teams for me.
They're smacking NA teams, man.
They have a legitimate shot. Rainbow Seven. It worries me because this was essentially what we talked about with INTZ beating Flamingo. Rainbow Seven, massive upset throughout the tournament. They beat Isurus Gaming. Well, first they beat Azul's, what they were supposed to do, win that one. Then they beat Isurus Gaming, the team that has actually been to the finals multiple times for the LLA. And then they went and took down All Knights, the forever second place team, and our favorite player, Pancake, the substitute player, not even a full-time player. But his name's Pancake, and he was going to go to Worlds. And then I choked, and I ruined them. I still apologize for that to this day.
Ruining Pancake, you ruined DFM, you ruined BRT greater than double lift.
They have but yeah, so All Knights have always been the second best, or the best team in the regular season, and then they fail in the finals every year to Isurus. So when Isurus finally got eliminated by Rainbow Seven, we were like, yes, finally get to see All Knights at Worlds. And then they went up 2-0, and they were winning game 3 a little bit, like in the early game. And then I said, oh, it looks like All Knights are going to Worlds. And then they got reverse swept after that. So that was unfortunate. But Rainbow Seven is here. They deserved it. They absolutely won the gauntlet. They hey, what can you say? They won the gauntlet. They have Jose Dideo. Diodo.
Jose Diodo.
My pronunciation. I literally said 21st on the podcast. So you can't blame me for
21. No, it wasn't 21st. It was 21th.
21th. Yeah. Either way, it was quite bad. But yeah, I think Rainbow Seven could absolutely. They can make a run with having V3 in their group. I think it's quite easily going to be, not quite easily, but it's quite possible that they are playing a best of 5 against either PSG or Unicorns of Love to try and make it to the group stage. Can you imagine if one of these wildcard teams can pull off a best of 5 victory?
I mean, it's possible. I've seen crazier things happen.
I mean, let's take out Unicorns of Love because they're a wild card, but are they type deal? Can you the other?
Trust me, we'll get to them later.
Yeah, the other 5, I would love to see them compete really hard in a best of 5. That'd be really cool for the region, I think. Because right now they're really just looking not to finish last.
Yep, that's fair though.
All right.
Like I said, it's as opposed to a 1-horse race. It's it's considerably a 4-horse race just to get second.
Mm-hmm. I hope they kind of go with this format next year as well. Maybe
that'd be kind of cool.
I like it. I like it a bit.
They'd have to retool it if they have more teams. Or either that or they had to reseed different teams, which I'm fully on board with that. I've gone on record in Discord chat with multiple people discussing how dumb, frankly, it is that the LMS or the old LMS, now the PCS, is still getting auto seeds into group stage. That's on par with the second place in North America. Yeah. And then also a group stage team. Same thing with Vietnam, which has literally had one good performance in 1 year and never again.
Don't be hating on my boys in Vietnam. I love Vietnam. They would have made a splash this year. They would have made a splash this year. Flash and Gigabyte was so
just
good.
Like for the LMS, it was always Flash Wolves. And
That's
then
fair.
just like Vietnam, it was always Gigabyte Marines.
That is fair.
No one else was ever relevant, and half the time they were barely relevant. Flash Wolves were the biggest joke of a first seed at Worlds 1 year, even bigger than any NA first seed, where they won 1 game.
Yep. Yeah, especially the LMS had been...
And that was when the LMS was good, by the way.
When the LMS, especially last year, NA gets a lot of heat, but the LMS did way worse than the NA.
LMS still lost. They didn't win a single game.
They didn't win a single game last year.
And they were the first Rager region to not make it out of play-ins.
Oh, yeah, that did happen. Forgot about that.
I think it was Hong Kong Attitude.
Let's see. No, Hong Kong Attitude made it out, right? Weren't they in the group with G2 and C9?
I think it was like the year. It was
the year
before that.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Okay.
Because I remember it was one of their coaches or whatever was talking shit, leaking scrim results, and then they got knocked out in play-ins.
All right. Who's your number 18 team? Or I can go first for my 18 team. I have Supermassive. I spoiled it a little bit earlier. I think Supermassive. They... Yep. I really wanted Istanbul or Galacticos to make it. Oh, sweet. We got a bot.
Oh, man. We're in the big time now. We got bots.
Nice. But I think that Supermassive, they won and it was fair. They went to game 5 against 5 Ronin, and I really wanted to see 5 Ronin win just for the memes alone. They would be 22nd on this list if they made it by a large margin. But
no, they wouldn't.
No, they'd be number 1. Husky Rider.
Husky Rider.
Oh, man. But what happened in Turkey, if you aren't familiar, is the number 1 seed and number 2 seed, 2 teams that were absolutely dominating the regular season, especially the number 1 seed, lost in their first round of the playoffs. And they got killed.
Yikes.
Both of them got beat pretty bad to teams. One of them lost. The second tier team lost to Supermassive. The first seed lost to 5 Ronin, which is insane. 5 Ronin was
hilarious.
in Spring Split. probably a bottom 3, bottom 2 team in the world, entire world. Not just CLG being bottom team in major region, bottom team in the world. And they were a 500 team this year. Still weren't great, but anyway, Supermassive made it. I think they have the players, absolutely, with Snowflower and Zeitnot and Cacao, and like they have Armut. Yeah, they have they have the star power on this team. The fact that they were struggling this year as much is kind of surprising. So maybe they're going to be like reheating up to get to Worlds, like they did through the playoffs. But at the moment, I have them as the D tier, where their best odds is to attempt to win a best of 5 group, or in the first best of 5 game. But I don't see them winning too much, considering they are going against Legacy and INTZ. INTZ in them actually would be a very competitive best of 5. So they could. They're in a good group for it. Let's just say that. like for the best of 5 scenario. But they're also in a bad group. Sorry, I had to go let my dog in. But they're in a good group to make the best of 5. Or a bad group to make the best of 5, but a good group to win it. Because in this example, say Supermassive makes it, Legacy gets eliminated, they have to face INTZ, best of 5. That's very close, very competitive. Now go to the other side. Rainbow 7 makes it, V3 gets eliminated. Rainbow 7 has to face the loser of PSG Unicorns of Love. Much harder matchup. Alrighty.
Yeah, there's not much to say.
Yeah.
I would say a bit. I would say this is probably a little bit up there, but I would actually have Supermassive up at around 18.
18? Well, that's where I have.
Or not 18, not 18, but 17. Sorry.
17. Okay, so that's close. That's close. So who would you think? So they're in your next tier. They're in your C tier, right?
Yeah. Yes. They're the bottom. They're the bottom rung of C tier.
Yes.
Like my D tier is done.
Yes, and they are the top. They are the top rung of my D tier. So we're the same, basically.
Yeah, roughly, like I said, consolidate. We're probably gonna get consolidated at one point.
Yes.
But I actually have in the 18th spot, just below them, I actually have PSG.
Interesting. That is very That is very interesting, because the news about PSG. What the heck? Why'd the font change here? But yes, I actually have PSG at 17, so we're on the same boat.
Yeah.
Here. I have the bottom.
The news is actually. Yeah, the news is important. Is kind of saddening to hear, but it's like this is kind of where, like, not counting about who is available to play for them or not. This is based on their strength of players, like at full power, like everyone available. This is where I would see them at.
Okay.
Not necessarily how they're going to show up in group stage with who they have available to play.
Okay, that's actually, when I was thinking about it, I had said that, but they were 17th either way for me. Because even if what happened is their mid laner and jungler cannot go to Worlds they cannot go for play-in stage at Worlds, because they are Korean imports and they have complications in the visa. Then their ADC Unified, so Tank and River, by the way, where their mid laner and their jungler, their ADC Unified also will not be playing for the first few days of play-ins, I believe. So I think the first 2 days or something like that. Unified.
So literally, they're only showing up with 2/5 of their starting roster.
Yes. However, they did get Uniboyd and Kongyu from AHQ. And to be honest, it's hard to do with like synergy and stuff, like how they work with the team. But from just like player to player standpoint, Uniboy is a little bit better than Tank in my opinion, and Kongyu is better than River. So it's an upgrade. But again, you're coming in with so late with no team synergy. And then
who's coming in for Unified though?
Yeah, I forgot. That's a downgrade. All I remember. It's a young guy. It's a very young player.
Oh man, it's gonna be the closer though. It's gonna be the closer of the PCS.
Let's see. Do
it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. Why am I not? This is 2017. This is not. This is a different team. Here we go. PSG Talent.
Disbanded.
I forgot the talent part of it. But I was like, this isn't right.
The bad guys from Over.
D is the born in 1990. Oh, he's young. He's older than me. He's not young. Never mind.
Never mind.
He's ancient. Gun. He's ancient.
This young man.
He's the backup ADC from Maki Esports. Actually, he's the replacement for Bruce.
Gotcha.
Yeah, who needs team synergy? The Shy every game.
It's more like who needs team? Yeah. The Shy.
So the team now is Hanabi, Kongyu, Uniboy, D, and Kawing. We'll see how it goes. How much has D played? I had never heard of him personally.
Is it Kawing or I thought it was Kaiwing?
Kawing. Okay. Right.
Yeah, because I think you're thinking of the EU Kasing.
He played with Boss that's on Maki. That makes more sense. I was like, yeah, he played in the LMS in 2017 for Maki, which was formerly G-Rex. So it's been 3 years since he's played in a non-minor league team for LMS. We'll see how it goes. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Are we still in your C tier then?
Yep, we're still in C tier. We're like I said, we're at the bottom of my C tier.
Yes, we are actually on the bottom of my C tier as well. So we're synced up. 16th is Maki Esports.
I have them in the same spot.
Nice. So this is a team that is not in the play-in. This is the first non-play-in stage team. This is a team that is already qualified for groups. They should be, like you had mentioned. They are actually in Group A, already qualified. G2 and Suning are the other two teams in their group. Dominating, very, very good run for them in the PCS, by the way, to make it. We kind of wrote them off a little bit, thinking that teams like AHQ, J-Team, and or at least for sure J-Team and PSG were stronger than them. And Maki not only... it's not like they just kind of got to avoid them in the playoffs due to upsets. They destroyed those teams in the playoffs. Like, they absolutely destroyed... what can we pull this? Let's do PCS Summer Playoffs. Perfect. Maki started. They beat Alpha Esports. Rest in peace, Alpha. They lost to Berjaya Dragons, so come on. And then they 3-1 J-Team. Then they lost a very close battle in the semifinals against PSG, 3-2. And then from the loser bracket, they went 3-0 against J-Team. So they finished the playoffs 6-1 against J-Team, who were the best team, arguably the best team in all of PCS. And then they go back to the finals where they had just lost to PSG 3-2, and then they 3-0'd PSG from there on. So they're pretty good. They do have PK, if you remember G-Rex, when G-Rex was at Worlds, they'd have PK, Gemini, Mission, Bruce, Koala. It's most of the same players still. So they are a familiar team. They do have Worlds experience. We'll see how it goes from here, though. All right. Who is your 15th team, then, since I did 16? All right. We do need more Dino Symbol teams. I'm actually really think Maki is so much worse than G-Rex as a team name.
That's a team name, and as a logo, everything. Terrible. My next team is... And this one was actually kind of a weird borderline team. This is kind of what we're getting into borderline, like C and B tier teams.
Yep, this is my top.
But my next one are the Unicorns of Love.
Yep, I agree with you. They are the best C tier team and the best quote unquote wild card team. If you put the LMS in the wild card category, or the PCS, sorry, in the wild card category, this is the best team here from there.
Yes,
they
agree.
They're pretty good. I'm sure you've heard about them a lot from casters.
They're the best team in the world, according to Stray.
The best team in the world.
If anything, even if they're not the best team in the world, that should just paint a picture of just how insanely dominant they are over their region.
So they lost one game all year. Wasn't in the regular season. It was in the finals. So they finally lost their very first game in the finals this year against Gambit, who Gambit was no pushover considering Gambit went 12-2 this year in the LCL in Russia. Their only two losses being Unicorns of Love. So Unicorns of Love finished the year 20-1. They won also Spring Split as well, and they were pretty dominant there. It's, if you remember Vega Squadron, they are still a team. However, they have no active members. Apparently they lost all of their squad.
Yes, I was gonna say. By the way, shout out to Vega Squadron as well. Not a dinosaur, but a shark is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like Isurus, but I like it better than Isurus.
Yeah, it's more fierce, more dynamic.
Yes, I agree.
Isurus just looks stupid, derpy.
But yeah, so Vega Squadron did not have them. But when they went to MSI, I believe it was a year and a half ago, this is that team. They have Boss, they have Ananasik, also known as Pineapple, as we all know in Russian now.
Pineapple and Pancake.
No Man's, Gadget, and Santos. Unicorns of Love at Worlds last year was this same team, except they had Edward as the ADC, or as the support, and Inax as the ADC. So instead, they got rid of them and brought in Gadget and Santos, who were actually the ADC support of when Vega Squadron went to MSI. Gadget plays a mean Heimerdinger, if I remember correctly, from MSI. I don't know if he's still playing.
So he's the Hjarnan of the
LCS. Yeah, kinda.
Oh, the LCL. Sorry,
but this team.
We'll get to the LCS.
Yeah, this team really good, and I expect to beat at the moment PSG and probably make it to a best of 5, where it will be a tough matchup for whoever the 3rd seed is in Group A to face them.
All right. I guess now it's moving on to the next team.
Yes. So
I think this
that is all the wildcard teams, by the way. They're all
it's all major region teams from here on out, and we actually only have 2 more play-ins teams as well.
3 more.
It's just 2. Well, so I keep forgetting that Mad Lions is not a it's in the play-ins.
Yes.
I don't know why. Like I see, it's like, oh, LGD and TL, right? There's only 2.
All right, this is where. This is my fat list of the B tier. Is a mess.
And this is me. Well, this is the very top line of C, and it's like borderline with B.
Gotcha.
I just could not put them in the B tier just yet.
Okay, and I know what.
And all of them are kind of just like relatively the same level, so yes. I kind of just all put them here. But my next team after Unicorns of Love is Team Liquid.
Me too. They are my bottom tier B team. They're the worst major region team going to Worlds, and that hurts to say as a Team Liquid fan, but it is true. But it's not by leaps and bounds from the other B tier teams. The A tiers, yes, but they could win games against the B tier teams, in my opinion. And I just think they struggled really bad in the playoffs. They got exposed for their very small champion pools, like we had mentioned multiple times on the podcast. They only play a few champions, and that got exposed. They play a slow style of League of Legends that can be punished very easily by high aggression because they...
Jet tried to write it off as like, oh, well, we just don't need to play more champions because we're just succeeding on these ones. Like,
yes.
No.
Yeah.
I think the playoffs show that you just
the playoffs.
You can only play these champions.
I agreed with it in the sense that for winning games and like not like losing games off of really random picks and stuff like that. I didn't agree with it with the sense that you still need that pool in the back. You bluffed by saying, "Oh, we got all these picks in the back." You didn't. You just had those picks. If that makes sense. Don't worry, Broxah Lee got this. I still believe Team Liquid is going to get out of play-ins. They have a very realistic shot to get first in their play-in stage. It's going to come down to day 1, really, which is unfortunate. But it's literally Team Liquid's very first game will decide if they make it out of the play-ins without having to play best of 5 or not. And
basically, well, I mean, they could always CLG and lose randomly to a wildcard team.
That is fair, but I actually don't.
After beating the major region team.
But even then, they would still have to lose 2 times because they would win the tiebreaker over Mad Lions no matter what. At that point,
true.
And I don't see them losing 2 of 3 games against the. So as long as, even if they beat Mad Lions, it's almost like a 99.99% chance that they make it out first place.
I mean, like I said, they could totally CLG it. CLG lost twice to Albus Nox Luna in group stage.
That's CLG. It's a different.
They beat everyone else, but lost to Albus Nox twice.
I mean, it's CLG. What are you trying to throw logic here?
beat freaking Rocks Tigers, beat G2, lose the Apple Stocks twice.
Oh man! All right, so they are my bottom. They're your top tier C team, you said, and they're my bottom tier B team. So now we're all into the Bs still.
Yeah, if there was like a B minus tier, these like TL and the next two teams are right there, basically.
Interesting. Okay, I'm curious what they are. So my number 13 team is actually Mad Lions.
Okay.
Interesting. I think they have shown to struggle a lot in high pressure situations as of these playoffs. They got destroyed. They played very competitively with G2. Then they did beat SF4, but then they got exposed and destroyed to Rogue. I felt like Rogue kind of, like we mentioned earlier, Rogue kind of just threw a curveball on them and played new comps, new fast pace that no one really expected from Rogue. So that was a little bit of a possibility that maybe just unlucky for Mad Lions to get in that position. But the following games before that in the regular season, anytime Mad Lions always had a chance to seal first place or like pull ahead from Rogue, they always fell apart and dropped it. They always blew it.
It was either them or it was Rogue doing it. Like
fair.
Mad Lions would lose and then Rogue would also lose because they can't be first place.
That is true. But it felt like there seems to be an issue with closing games or like just like that clutch moment right now for me with the carries of Mad Lions has not been there in a while. Carzzy's been struggling lately. Kaiser's still phenomenal. But Carzzy's been struggling lately. Humanoid's been running it down again a lot. He started the season so good. It was like he was back. And then like the last like 2 weeks or so, he really regressed back to his former ways. And then Shadow was having some off games every now and then, but less so than our other two. I really hope to see. I love Carzzy, so
I don't know, man. I've seen Shadow like run it down super hard in some games. Like it was inexcusable some of the decisions he was making.
But that's the thing though. Is like their carries, who I would say are used to be Carzzy and Shadow, they are struggling at times. Like even. Yep. And like if that's the case, where if Shadow has
Arome's been fine.
Yeah, Arome's been fine. I think in a matchup between Team Liquid, I think they're so close because you have Kaiser, I think, is currently the best player on Mad Lions. CoreJJ on Team Liquid. If Carzzy's not playing well, I think Tactical can take that advantage, but I think that's a very good bot lane matchup that I'm excited to see. Humanoid Jensen, if Humanoid's running it down, I think Jensen can take advantage of that. It all is going to come down to if Shadow runs it down and Broxah doesn't do anything, but he picks up kills by not doing anything because Shadow's running it down. I can see Team Liquid beating Mad Lions in that sense.
I feel like the other issue is that a lot of times Shadow running it down was off the back of the enemy team jungler just playing more aggressively, more proactively.
That is fair.
And just outperforming him in jungle. If he doesn't have that pressure from a player like, say, Broxah, he's probably not going to be under pressure to have to try to make something happen.
That is true. I think Team Liquid and Mad Lions actually match up really well together, though. I think it's pretty much dead even across the board outside of maybe a slight mid advantage for Team Liquid, but a much bigger jungle advantage for Mad Lions. But like we've mentioned before, Shadow has not been playing his best lately. Where do you have Mad Lions, by the way?
I have Mad Lions at number 11.
Ooh, you have a few.
And they are for this list, they are the first B tier team.
Okay, so you still have C tiers.
They're the bottom of B tier for. I still have 2 C tier teams left.
All right, so who is your number 13 team?
My number 13 team is FlyQuest.
Okay, that's pretty close. I have FlyQuest as my number 12 team. I actually do think FlyQuest match up really well into Mad Lions as well, because that's kind of where my power rankings were going. Because Mad has to, if they qualify, which I assume they will have to face FlyQuest in their group, and I actually think FlyQuest is the better team in that scenario.
Yeah, I think it's the matchup is actually it's funny that they match up, and so does Team Liquid, but they match up in different ways.
Yes,
I think there's a stronger jungle jungle top strength for FlyQuest.
Yep,
as opposed to Team Liquid, they have a typically stronger bot focus. But even then, Turtle and Ignar have been fine. Turtle and Ignar have shown some decent strength as not just a laning duo, but just generally how they play towards the rest of their team, enabling mid jungle.
Mm-hmm. And then it's going to come down to
Santorin is the type of jungler that can actually probably challenge Shadow and force him into bad situations.
And then you're gonna have Humanoid making tons of plays, and will he be able to make those against Power of Evil, who pretty much is the will lose gracefully no matter what type mid laner? Like he will never feed type scenario.
Yeah, but then also pick weird stuff.
Like also pick weird stuff, yes. But he'll never feed with it. He might lose his lane, but it won't be a game breaking lose lane.
And even then, he'll probably almost never lose lane. He'll
fair.
probably at least keep it even.
Yep. That's kind of what I'm like, in the sense that like he will the game will never be over off of his laning phase.
Power of Evil literally over the course of playoffs established himself as arguably the second best mid laner in the region.
Agreed.
In North.
I actually thought he was really, really good in play, and this year,
and Santorin is arguably the best jungler in the region, and it's probably not even close.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Like, as much as a C9 fan, it hurts to say it, but it's true. Dude showed up really well. Like, he adapted super hard to the meta. He's not just a Trundle one trick anymore. In fact, I don't think he played Trundle once in playoffs. If he did, I missed it.
Interesting. Yeah. So curious. Then I'm curious if your number 12 team is my number 11 team. Then, so this is another C tier team for you.
Yep. I still have another C tier team. It's TSM.
Ooh, it's not the same then.
You notice the top of my C tier?
Yeah, your top of C tier is NA, NA, and NA.
Yeah. Like I said, man, they're borderline. I wanted to kind of throw them in B tier, but I just could not.
Okay, that's fair. I actually, not only do I have them in B tier, I have them in my top 3 in B tier. My B tier is actually pretty big. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in my B tier, so they're in the top half.
I have 7 teams in my B tier.
Nice. But I have TSM as the 10th team right now going into Worlds.
You're wrong.
I think no, you are.
Don't you know me?
No, I'm not wrong. I actually think TSM is much better than what they've recently gotten credit for. I think Double has been playing a pretty good weak side ADC. He's no longer dominant.
you haven't been seeing some Reddit comments from TSM fans that they're getting a lot of credit.
From
some people.
I don't believe that. I think that's absurd as well.
I think you do. You got him top 10.
I do have him top 10. I mean, you're 12, so they're only 2 spots different. They're same tier.
Ooh. Yeah, I know, but here's the thing. If someone comes out with a top 10 list, you're not going to see TSM on mine.
That's fair. That is fair. But you will see him on mine, and I think they deserve it here because I think that Bjergsen's been playing out of his mind in the mid lane. You have Doublelift actually learning how to play weak side ADC. Broken Blade's been good, and Spica has really stepped up in the playoffs. I am shocked at how good Spica played in the playoffs.
We just talked about FlyQuest having arguably the second best mid laner and the best jungler. Playoffs, they had Bjergsen establish himself as the best mid laner, and Spica was arguably the second best jungler.
Yeah, it's very weird to say because Spica was always the pretty big weak point for TSM, and to see how well he played throughout all of playoffs after. I mean, even the series where they went 3-0 against or 0-3 against the Golden Guardians, he was stomping closer in the playoffs. Like he was jungle gapping. He didn't win the game, but he was jungle gapping closer. So like, TSM impressed me a lot more than I realized they were going to impress me at Worlds or in playoffs. But I think they got the second best group they can ask for as well. And we'll talk more about the groups, but that group is just going to be a clown fiesta of just fun. It's going to be so exciting.
Yeah. See, I don't rank TSM nearly as high as I do because I feel like Golden Guardians showed the formula like early on of how to just crush this team, but no one learned except TSM. Well, like Golden Guardians were one game away from crushing them twice and knocking them out in 2 best-of-5s.
That is true.
But then you had teams like Team Liquid and C9 and FlyQuest that seemed to mind game themselves in draft and set themselves up poorly. Okay. And then even then FlyQuest nearly reverse swept them in the finals.
That is true.
After shitting the bed repeatedly.
The first 2 games were terrible.
Yeah, literally just giving away the TSM strategy of, let's just pick TF mid and then just hard focus top lane and throw everything at top lane like we did against C9 and crush them. And then Team Liquid's like, oh man, that's like a good idea. Let Jade Jensen, you could pick it. Oh wow, we won. okay, let's not pick that and just let them have it again.
I actually saw on the squad episode from Team Liquid, Jensen was complaining about not getting it anymore after that. That's
Yeah,
like
and then the FlyQuest did the same thing. They just kept putting solo on random islands when it's like TSM were like, oh good, now we can just play the Broken Blade and just kill him repeatedly.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of those points, but I also think TSM from a team, there are like with Spica stepping up and Doublelift not enting as hard as he would, like because Doublelift the regular season, bottom 5 ADC. I think there's 5 ADC better than him easily, and I think he's learned to play Senna, which is good.
Well, according to him, he's always been able to play Senna.
That is true, and I don't believe it for a second. That's true to him, and I don't believe it for a second. That I watched those games. He did not know how to play Senna. Yeah, but he'd play Senna again a bajillion times better than I could ever do, and he would murder me in lane. I get that part, but at a professional level.
Well, I would hope so. Dude's a little pro player, multi-time champion, been to Worlds several times, and you're a plat dude who's like a freaking top and support main.
Yeah. I actually
with the occasional Nautilus mid lane.
I've never played Nautilus mid lane. Don't spread those rumors.
The occasional Nautilus mid lane. The occasional Cho'Gath mid lane.
I have played Cho'Gath mid.
There you go. Tank AP Cho'Gath.
Tank Cho'Gath mid. I would never.
You fool.
All right, let's move on. My number 11 team though. I'm curious if they are your number 10. Let me look at the thing. Okay, maybe we'll see.
I will say, by the way, that obviously that's all my C tier teams. It's all B and up.
Yes. My number 11 team is Fnatic.
Ooh.
I don't think Fnatic's that good still. They stepped it up a ton in playoffs. They crushed Rogue 3-0 right away. And Rogue never adapted to that, and that was a shame on Rogue. Then they beat G2 in a 3-2 that G2 really choked away. In my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Really, really choked it. Should have been a 3.
And the finals kind of vindicated that as well.
Yes, G2 should have easily 3-1 Fnatic. And then G2 just destroyed Fnatic in the finals again. Like, absolutely 3 of them. Wasn't close. If I saw people defending it saying they were close games, they were not close. G2 was trolling after 20 minutes like they always do, and just start,
They were close. It's like garbage time in the NFL.
Yeah, it literally is.
They score points when they're literally just doing nothing and just resting players.
Exactly. Except in G2's cases, they're treating it almost as a scrim game, and it's the finals. Around. And
limit testing when they're like freaking thousands of gold ahead, and it's fine, and nothing is up, so they can't lose anything.
My issues come back is that 60% of this team is insanely coin flippy, or in some cases, not even, and they're weighted coins on the negative side. Self-made, fantastic, awesome jungler, really, really good player. Reckless. Very good player, very consistent. Opposite of coin flip. He's never going to give you a bad game.
He's super stable.
He will never give you a bad game. Hylissang,
unless he's playing Soraka sometimes.
Even when he played Soraka, he wasn't the problem they lost.
Even when he's playing Karma sometimes.
Hylissang will ent about 75% of the time. 25% of the time he'll be good, but 75% of the time he's enting the game.
I think it's closer to 80, but that's just
okay. Fair, 80%. I will give you that. I will not argue that Hylissang doesn't end. It's a lot.
Hylissang.
Whippo is more 50-50. Definitely not Hylissang levels. He's 50-50.
I'd even say, honestly, I would say he's better than that. I would say he's about 30-70.
That's fair. I think
he's somehow become he's become a better Hylissang.
That is actually a good point. I will give you that.
Hylissang is siphoned the int off of Whippo.
But it's like terrible having all the int on one person.
on the support who's engaging.
And yeah. So Whippo's been playing, he's been pretty stable, like for the most part. He does have some bad games.
Compared to Whippo.
He plays AP Cho'Gath and I hate him. So okay. Are we fine now? Did I have to say it?
Hold on, man. This is where it comes. What if he comes into group stage And in the first game, he pulls out Tank Cho'Gath.
Then he's a much better player all of a sudden. He's learned. He learned from Wonder, who's a much better top laner who also plays Tank Cho'Gath.
Yeah, we'll get to that with our top 20 list, by the way. We'll also be doing a top 20 players list. Yes. This will just be... I think there should be too much to discuss on that list, but it would be really interesting to see where everyone...
Yes, I'm actually very...
Yeah. I will say, just to jump on that as well, I do have Fnatic at number 10.
Yeah, okay, so I'm arguing, like, to me, they are super inconsistent, because I haven't even brought up Nemesis, who I think is one of the weakest mid laners of all like the main power teams, like the main regions. Honestly, I think he's weaker than all 3 NA mids. I think Power Vivo, Jensen, and Bjergsen are all better than Nemesis right now. I don't think that's too bold to say at the moment for this. If you just look at this split alone, trying to go BDD, no, he might be like Angel. Okay, he might be better than Angel on Suning, but
I don't even know if he is.
I don't know if he is,
if I'm being perfectly honest.
But like that's it.
He might be like we want to talk about some Doinby stuff, man. It's like karma right now. Like Nemesis, worst mid at Worlds.
He might be, yeah, obviously not counting playing, but yeah, he might literally be the worst mid laner right now at Worlds in a meta that is really reliant on your mid laners. I think mid is the most important role right now because you need to get those roams to bot lane usually, and then dragon control as well. And dragon control always comes through your mid laner, your jungler, and your bot lane, obviously, from there. Top lane doesn't mean shit right now.
Yeah.
Unless they die a lot.
Yeah. I will say going into this B tier, I would say it's almost impossible for me to put any sort of numerical ranking to any of these teams.
Yes, that is fair. They're all so close.
Because all of these teams, and I'll probably discuss it a little bit after I kind of get through them all, but all of these teams have glaring problems.
Yes.
That keep them nowhere close to sniffing for the actual top tier. There's issues I have with all of these teams. That's why there's so many in here because I don't want to put them lower, but I can't put them higher either.
All right. So who's your number 9 team then?
I would say out of these teams that I would have number 9. This, like I said, this is rough. I'm like torn between like 3 teams right now. But I will say I'll say Gen G.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, that's you, not me. I actually do not have Gen G as a B tier team. They are my first A tier team.
You're wrong.
As they are my number 7 team in the power rankings.
Oh, he's wrong again, guys. He's got TSM top 10. Freaking Gen G is an A tier team. Come on.
I think Gen G is really good with really bad drafts. If that makes sense.
Here's what I'll say. Oh, actually, no. Go ahead, make your point real quick, because that's actually exactly where my problem is. But I'll let you make your point first.
I think that the Gen G has the players and the playmaking ability to be an elite level team. The coaching staff on Gen G, you know how I complained about the coaching staff on Team Liquid last spring a lot? Gen G's like worse by a large margin. They just have the players to make up for it with BDD and just Ruler and like Clid as well. Like they have
all these great players like Ruler and BDD and whoever the fuck else is on this team.
I was blanking for a second. Okay, but you have Clid. You have all of these top tier players
and Rascal.
Rascal is not.
Life
isn't bad, but he's a mid-tier support at Worlds.
Oh, he's superstar. These superstar players.
You 60% of your players are really good.
Rascal
is in the bottom of Rascal. Your weak topside.
Clint.
But like I just mentioned, topside doesn't matter as badly this Worlds as it does in previous Worlds because of how important Dragon Souls are right now. But yeah, Rascal is their weakest player. But having 3 really super all-star players on the team kind of makes up for a lot of the drafts. If they drafted better, this team would be a top tier A team instead of the very worst A team. coming into Worlds.
Well, and here's my issue with this, because I agree they have good players. They have BDD, who I think is a good player. I don't think he's like this insane superstar player. I think he's good.
He's a tier below S tier. He's an A.
He's on my top. I'll say he's in my top 20.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say where though. And they do have Ruler, and he's really good.
He's really good.
I would say he's probably. I would say he's. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna actually check something. Yeah, he's actually my highest ranked AD carry in my top 20. I agree. They have.
Yes, sure.
I said they have good players.
They
have good players, but here's the thing. But here's my issue, and it's a similar issue that I have with all of the LCK right now. Big fish, small pond. This team has been getting away with stupid shit, with bad play, bad decision making, poor macro, and terrible drafts. But they get away with it because the rest of the region is either terrible or just not good at punishing it, or they're the same level as them, like a certain other Korean team that we'll get to.
Yes.
That is also guilty of the same things, where they rely on essentially mechanical outplays from individual players to make up for their terrible play, make up for their terrible decisions, to make up for their terrible drafting. And they get away with this because the region itself cannot handle it. They're now on the world stage, where the talent level is going to be rising up to their level. Now, granted, they could just be better players and they could just carry themselves far, but I'm not going to sit there and rank this team highly because they're able to just get away with this in a region that I think is pretty weak right now. Like, they're not terrible. Like, you see where I put all the NA teams.
Yes.
But to act like Korea is some freaking god killer when you have teams in EU and in China who are mechanically like level, if not superior to them, and they have an entire team of them that are all good, or at least like 4/5 of them are great, then how exactly is this team going to go far at Worlds? How is this team considered an A tier? Like an A tier threat to me is a team that could potentially challenge for top 4 or possibly go to finals and win. In my opinion,
I guess
this
I
team
have
has
I have S.
S tier is who I consider the teams that are like outright favorites to win.
Okay, yes,
and I have 3 teams.
Yep, I do.
S tier.
I think our 3 teams are probably the same.
Yeah, take a guess, but A tier teams like that. That's reserved for teams that I think that are right on the echelon of being S tier. A tier is like the teams that I would consider like dark horses.
Okay.
Dark horses for a final spot. Gen.G is not even close to that right now. They have to level up seriously in this boot camp and get their shit together, as like in terms of their team play, decision making, and drafts, because that's not going to fly at Worlds. And you're talking about in a group of a team, like you could say, oh well, they might be free. It's like, okay, sure, the group that they're in, it might be free just because of the level of competition in their group with teams like TSM and Fnatic. But TSM and Fnatic have shown that they know how to draft. They know how to punish you in draft, and they can actually play relatively well in this. And like if you're drafting terribly against a team like Fnatic could get a free win on you over this.
That's fair. That's actually a really good point. So they're still a top 10 team for you, but yeah, I get.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. But like I said, to me, in my opinion, nothing beyond like the top 4 or 5 even matter to me at Worlds right now.
Fair. That's
the
fair.
The teams like in that like 5 to 10 spot, 5 to 11 spot, they have proving.
Yeah.
But until they do it, they don't get it. They don't get a sniff at it.
Okay.
This is where they sit.
All right. So I guess I will go next then, unless you have anything else you want to.
Yeah. No, I trust me. We'll get back to this. There's still 2 other Korean teams.
Well, at least one needs to be critical.
There's still 2 other Korean teams.
There's 2.
We'll talk.
my number 9 team is Rogue. They are a B team with an asterisk next to them because of how I grade teams at Worlds. For example, how I have like my B tier teams, if they don't make it out of groups and then they have to be competitive in like quarterfinals type stage is kind of like how I have them at that scenario. Then they just get a failure for the Worlds. Rogue gets an asterisk because they got fucked. They got fucked so hard by the group stage draw. They got JDG and Damwon, so they are in the F tier on the grading scale because they're in the have fun tier.
Yeah.
Try your best.
Do what you can because you're literally fighting a team that's essentially a better version of you and a team that stylistically counters you.
Oh, it's so brutal. And the issue...
Actually terrible. Spoiler alert, they're in the group with 2 of my S tier teams.
The 2 of everyone's S tier teams, I would assume. The issue on top of that for Rogue, very good. I thought the fact that they adapted against Mad Lions and played G2 very strong in the loser bracket gave me complete life about this group. I was part of the people that deserve to eat crow, saying that, oh, I don't want Rogue at Worlds, like they got crushed at Fnatic, stuff like that.
They proved themselves.
They adapted. That's what I needed
especially
from Team
especially
Liquid.
especially after what happened to them in the Fnatic series. They adapted. They played better. They swapped their style and they actually played strong. They did the opposite of C9 and Mad Lions, and they actually changed with the times and they played better.
Yeah, I was begging for this from both Rogue and Team Liquid. Essentially the same team before the adaptation from Rogue. They were like slow. They had one style of drafting at all. Like they had like 4 champions each, if that, and that's all they played every single game. And that can be exploited because all of the film hits very hard, and like they don't have to adapt. Like teams don't have to adapt to counter you that hard because you have nothing. You have no ace up your sleeve, you know? And Rogue did that, and they destroyed Mad Lions with it, and then they almost beat G2, which was kind of crazy. And that's
actually the funny comparison that I would make, because you said that like before the changes, Rogue was basically just EUTL.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I'll say: playoffs proved that Rogue are more like EU FlyQuest.
Yes. Oh, that's a good.
They changed themselves and they became super scrappy. Like aside from like the first series against Fnatic, they came out, they adapted, they brought out some different picks, they came out with some extra aggression, and they actually ended up playing the team that eventually won the tournament. And so like they took them to 5 games, played them harder than some of the other teams.
And I will say, it seems like at the moment at least, Mad is kind of like an EUC9 as well, where they're still trying to cling to that same meta /style that worked 2 months ago.
Both finished 4th place.
Both finished 4th. Yeah, Rogue again. The only issue is their weak side on Rogue. They have Larson, who's a pretty good mid laner, a really good mid laner. Inspired's a good jungler. Hansama's a good ADC. Vander's a great support. Finn is a top laner that is going to Worlds, and he's definitely the weak side of the team. And unfortunately, he's in the group with Nogri and Zoom. So, you know, spoiler alert, number 1 and number 2 top laners going to Worlds, in my opinion.
Why do I have them actually?
There are some arguments you can make.
I think that's actually true. I actually have them as well, number 1 and 2 top.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you have one of the worst top laners from the major regions, and you have to face the hardest two, like the toughest 2 top laners.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna have to deal with it. Hopefully he can play weak side enough to it, but from what we've seen so far, not so much.
Oh yeah, by the way, I will say that I do have Rogue as my number 18.
That's
just above Gen.G. That's where I decided.
We don't really have any. Like we do have little differences, but I think the outside of 2 spots,
TSM
is 2.
Yeah, TSM and Gen.G I think were like the biggest.
Yeah, it's only a 2 spot.
And I guess V3 and INTZ.
Yes.
Oh, that one's our biggest gap.
Yep, and that's 2 as well. Okay.
But even then they're like literally just swapped for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't have too much else to say. Like good for Rogue. Let's see if they come out with something spicy for groups. would be cool to see.
They've already passed Worlds, in my opinion. They're already past. And no, they haven't, because if they lose to either one of Team Liquid, Unicorns will love PSG, then they will fail. But until then,
but if they go 2-4 in group stage and like they only lost in freaking top and or hell, they go 3-3 and they take one off of the top team, then dude, super pass, good job. Hell, that puts them in contention to get out of groups.
Yeah, for sure. And the situation is pretty much like I said, like my B tier teams is usually unless they perform phenomenally, they won't pass if they get kicked out of group stage. But Rogue gets the exception.
And like I said, just kind of tying into the rest of the conversation, Rogue, B tier, I would say they're one of the better teams in B tier, despite this, because I feel like they're still consistent, especially best of ones. They've shown that sort of strength. But the issue is literally just because they were up until playoffs pretty one-dimensional in their style, and they have been known to choke in like high pressure situations. Like even if we talk about them playing G2 close, they still couldn't close the series out at the end of the day.
Yes.
I would say, so for me, I guess I'm on number 7 now.
Yes, and I am on number 8. So
let's see. For my number 7, then. So I guess that's funny because I think that actually eliminates all but one team from EU. All of NA is gone. Yeah, my number 7 team. Dragon X.
Ooh. DRX is 7, so interesting. I actually do have DRX at number 6, so we're close still. Yeah. But
closer on DRX than Gen G.
Yes, That's funny. I wanted to actually put Gen G above DRX. I actually have higher hope per se in Gen G than DRX, but DRX did beat them in the playoffs, so it's kind of unfair to.
Come on, man, dude.
But they're so close.
The series was 2-1, and then they had a 3-hour break.
Yeah,
and had to switch to a live server.
That's why I think Gen G is probably the better team.
And Gen G was doing their thing. They were crushed. They were doing exactly what I said, and they were crushing DRX with terrible drafts.
Because DRX was also
because DRX was also drafting terribly.
Yes, and funny enough, these aren't the worst drafters in Korea. The worst one out of top tier teams is T1, which is why they are not at Worlds.
Hence why they're not here. They have a lot more problems.
Yes, that's
they have a lot more problems. But apparently there's even more than we thought there were with Coach Kim resigning.
Yes.
Which is fair, I guess. But like I said, this is a similar thing to what I was saying with Gen G. It's pretty much the exact same thing, except for I would say you have far more underperforming parts, and it's terrible to say this because I was super high on DRX and their playstyle coming out of spring.
Top 3. I think we had them top 2 in the world at one point.
Yeah, like I believed in them a lot, and they came out in the first week of Korea, and they stomping teams. They were beating their demons, and they're taking their spot at number 1, and we were like so proud of them. Like we were so on board. And then they lost. It's like they lost to KT, and it turned out that was like an omen for the remainder of their split.
Us. I mean, they kept winning, but none of the wins look good anymore after that KT loss.
Like the Damwon series.
They should not have won that series.
They should have been a 2-0. The freaking Gen G series, speaking of, literally came down to freaking again Chovy on Galio, just somehow picking up a freaking double kill and turning around a freaking, what was like a 4v2 fight.
Yeah, was a 4 or 5 man taunt or whatever from Galio.
Yeah, he literally just flash taunted 5 men and then hit the Winds of War and killed like two or 3 people. It was insane.
Yes.
But it was literally because Gen G was running at them in a straight line as a
Gen
Galio.
G does not understand spreading out. They don't get coronavirus. Yeah. They're not in 2020. Yeah.
So
they had the same issue against T1 where they all stood in a circle to Kennen or to Silas with Kennen all.
Clid. T1 Clid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and this is again what I mean. It's a matter of this team this is a team that almost lost. Like I can't remember. I'm like losing my mind right now. This team makes me really upset. It's like I can't even see now. I'm like I've already blocked out in my head who like the bottom tier teams in Korea were, and it makes me sad. Like I remember, obviously I remember like Hanwha Life. It's like it's Seohae Prince. They almost lost to Seohae Prince.
Seohae Prince is, if you haven't watched Korea and you watch NA, CLG level.
Yeah, legitimately, like CLG level Korean team, and it's one of those things where you look at this team, like it. I would say like maybe after the roster changes they made, they looked slightly better, but the fact that this is DRX, who was considered to be like the best team in Korea, almost like legitimately lost to freaking Seoul Haewon Prince, who was the worst team in Korea by far, and they were just losing. They were getting their ass beat, and they and they turned around based entirely on enemy team mistakes and mechanically outplaying them.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting just straight beat all the way around the map by a team of shitters. And now they're at Worlds. Good luck.
The issue, I do have them ranked 6, but it's mostly on Chovy. Essentially,
it's literally
they
Chovy.
are ranked 6 because of Chovy.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's disappointing with this team is that you have players
like
Deft and Keria who are massively underperforming now. I don't know what the hell happened to them.
That's what I mentioned at the first half of the split. Deft and Keria on fire. That's why this team looked so good. You had Chovy, Deft, and Keria. Your top side has always been weak with Pyosik and Doran. It's always been weak.
But even then, they always found ways to draft around Doran,
yes.
and they let Doran do his thing. And
yes.
Doran even had some decent games. But it's like, and half the time they'd say, "Oh, Doran, he's like the weak side. He's the weakness. He's the reason." I'm like,
he's not.
Yeah, he is sometimes. It's like he is sometimes, but he's far from the only problem. With this team.
Keria and Deft, like that's my hope on a positive note for DRX. If Keria and Deft like step up to what they were at the first half of the split, DRX is probably a Worlds contender at that point.
Yeah, then you at least have 3/5 of a good team, which is what we were just saying about like what's keeping some of these teams, like what's keeping like Korea out of these things. It's like, oh, we're relying on our players to just mechanically outplay and having like one or two superstar players.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the kind of the problem is that DRX right now you'll have one player who's a superstar who's actually carrying this team.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, this is like we're looking at a DRX team right now, and we're trying to. They're comparable to G2 mid split in EU, where it's literally Caps trying to desperately carry in 1v9 with the rest of his team just inting their faces off and playing like absolute shit and having no idea what to do or how to draft.
Yeah.
That's DRX right now.
It kind of is. All right. I'll go with my number 8 team, so we've just filled the board a bit. My number 8 team is LGD. I do think LGD is a solid team, definitely a solid team, but they are the one team from China that has some glaring weaknesses on it compared to the others. Oh, look at another bot. Damn. We got 2. Delete.
Oh, it's another one. Got him.
But
yeah. I will say just to jump in, I actually just to kind of just fill it in even more, I do have LGD as my next team.
Nice.
Just above DRX.
So we have everyone but the top 5. And I think that LGD, all of the China teams scare me, especially LGD being a play-in team. Oof. but I think
top 6, top 8 in the play-ins.
Yeah, in the play-ins, but they are beatable compared to some of the other teams from China. In even Suning to an extent, like LGD has glaring weaknesses on. I mean, they have a good team with GA, Peanut, Longshu,
Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. Funny enough, I was just thinking about it. Kramer's the worst ADC of the China teams. That's how good the China teams' ADCs are. And
Kramer's good.
And yeah, Kramer's really good. This is probably one of the worst years China's like ADC wise they've sent, but they're still that good. Like China ADCs are just disgusting.
You're still talking about players like Jackie Love.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kramer.
Yeah, it's not like. Man, the Uzi has created a legacy in China.
Yeah.
Man, but yeah, I mean they have Mark as well, big time. Mark going to DMO, going to Worlds makes me so happy. Hopefully he plays. So they didn't play him every game, but
I can't remember who their other one was.
I'm literally blanking on it myself. I know his name is Killua. Yeah, Killua.
Oh, Killua. Oh, the
former Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, the Hunter x Hunter reference.
Yeah.
Killua.
Yes, the Rogue Warriors support. That was the rookie on the team for Rogue Warriors when they almost made it out of Gauntlet to make Worlds, and then all of their players left, and then he was the leader on Rogue Warriors because they were all rookies with him after that. That's a weird 1/2 or split difference right there. Yeah. they're going to make it out of play-ins. They are definitely the best team by a large margin in play-ins. They are my final B tier team, actually. They are a team that they have to go to Group C, so there is no other group they can go to. And that's where I want to talk a little bit why I think Group C is going to be such pure chaos. This is Group C, throw out Rogue. Throw out Rogue.
Group.
Like, out of that group, they are almost top to bottom.
They're all right there.
That's why I think it was crazy for...
I mean, look at my list. My list is pretty close to...
Yeah, so let's see yours. You have TSM.
The only outliers are LGD and TSM.
Yeah.
All the others are right there next to each other.
Yeah, I just think this team, or this group, is going to be pure chaos. I can see almost every team going 1-1 against each other. Like, any team can take off a game against any of the other teams in this group. And I think it's going to be the most fun group to watch.
Everyone goes 3-3.
Yeah. Oh man,
play another tiebreaker.
Four-way tiebreaker.
Four-way tiebreaker.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be exactly what this group needs.
And to do my own little commentary on LGD, I think this team is basically like the weird heir to the unexpected heir to like the V5 and IG that failed to make Worlds.
Yes.
Just super aggressive, very solo lane focused team with actually a pretty solid, decent bot lane. Like V5 and IG are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum in that regard.
You want to know something funny?
Where
LGD is the only very hyper aggressive China team going this year.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Because JDG slow.
The closest is like JDG with like Kanavi going topside. That's about it. But even then, it's like they're going topside and like they have Zoom on Ornn.
Yeah, they're all team fighting like slower, like former RNG style type teams going back now. But anyway, continue.
Full 5v5. But yeah, I think like the one thing with them and their B tier flaw is how unproven they are and how coin flipping they are. We saw like we were high on them early on in LPL summer.
Yes,
they fell off the earth. Then they barely made playoffs. Then they 3-0'd IG. 3-0'd IG, like it was insane. Like they were getting they had three sub 30-minute wins versus
heavy
IG.
Underdog that game because IG was essentially the much better version of LGD.
Yeah, not just heavy underdogs, but like IG, everyone would just peg them to possibly just go to finals and win and be the first seed, and they got knocked out in the first round by LGD. But and again, this is like we say, early aggression. If you're talking about them in play-ins, it's gonna be they're monstrous. If you're in group stage, especially the group that they have to go into, considering they get out, which is what we predict, they're gonna be even more monstrous because look at the teams they're facing.
Yes.
Especially like a team like Gen G, who everyone is trying to rank highly. You think Gen G is gonna hold up against aggression from LGD? And is getting their shit kicked in from the early game onward. Like they're literally gonna have to rely on like Ruler and BDD mid to late game. But even then, you still have LGD having players like Peanut and GA and even Kramer to an extent. All their players are like I said, all their players are strong and solid. How does Gen G play this game if LGD play with a semblance of a brain?
The issue is LGD doesn't play all their games with a semblance of the brain.
And that's true. Like I said, that's one of the things you could say, like, oh well, we looked at we saw 2 best of 5s in a row of LGD versus Suning, and they got killed. So it's like, oh well, maybe that's just the formula. But here's the thing: it could also just be because Suning just knows how to play against those teams.
Yes.
They literally knocked V5 out of Worlds because of that. Because they know how V5 plays. They had V5's number all summer, and this V5 was basically up for the longest time like a better version of LGD.
Yeah.
Until they fell off the face of the
All
right. So that is the weakness. I feel like this is a team that conceivably, in terms of play style, in terms of the solid strength of their players, could match up against pretty much anyone in B tier. But they're also so coin flipping that they can just crash and burn like they did in 2015.
Yep, I agree. They easily can.
Rip Godby.
Honestly, all of Group C can easily be first and easily be last as well, in my opinion. Like there is no favorite. Or
here comes, man. TSM LGD getting out of groups.
Oh, that'd be pretty spicy.
Fuck Genji. And then FlyQuest and Mad Lions get out of groups.
No, that's not gonna happen.
We're going super spicy.
One of them
man.
have a chance, but not both. Don't give me nightmares. Right?
No, it's all right, dude. You still have Group A.
Yeah, you still have Group A. And speaking of Group A, we've only had 2 of the teams in there. They still have 2 teams remaining out top 5,
Yep.
which sounds kind of funny for a group of life. But
Yep.
yeah,
So we're getting into my top 5 now.
Yep.
I'm curious where. Actually, I think this will be my last B tier team as well.
Oh, you have another B tier team. I'm an A tier.
Like I said, I had 7.
Yeah.
I had Rogue, Fnatic, Mad, Genji, DRX, and LGD.
Yeah.
You want to take a guess who my number 5 is?
I'm gonna guess it's the same as my number 5 and Suning.
Suning.
Yep, Suning number 5. I think I have them I have them as the second best A tier team in my opinion. Going in, I think they're really underrated in this group. Like I think everyone's just assuming free win for G2. It's not a free win. It's a free get out of group. Let's say that. It's not a free first place out of group.
If there's an LPL team that G2 can beat, it's Suning.
Yes, because Suning does not play like the other LPL teams. They play.
Yes, they're basically JDG. They're JDG light. If anything, it might be a good warm up for for a JDG for knockout stage for G2.
That's a good point. I think that G2 has a very good chance to beat them because of that, but that also at the same time you have to watch out because you know who G2 kind of plays like V3 or V5
V3
LGD and IG. You know who Suning just absorbs and just beats that kind of style.
Those teams.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what I was going to think.
I'm actually really excited for the G2 Suning matchup. I think it's either going to be a blowout for either team or it's going to be just 2 teams like G2 smashes
highly contested.
Yes, Suning smashes aggression. Like who's going to win that? I love Suning a lot now. I never thought I would say that in my life.
Yeah. This is why I have this is why I had Suning in B tier because it's like I kind of wanted to put them in A tier because they legitimately have been playing well. They have their style and they match up well against a lot of teams. But the issue again is the fact that against teams that aren't teams like LGD or V5, they've been exposed, exploitable, and clearly a tier below.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just get their ass kicked by anyone else. And they're still that again.
Granted,
just like with LGD,
the teams they're like those teams are JDG and top esports as well. If some of the teams that kick.
That's true. But I mean, like even in terms of like what we talked about LGD, like in the middle of summer. Think about what we thought about Suning in the middle of summer.
We hated them.
They were fucking terrible. They're actually just awful as a team. And it's like they finally got like their win against V5 in their series, and they finally like started playing decently. The meta shift, it's like the meta shift actually really helped them a lot.
It did.
Also, I think, and then again, I think a lot of their players they're good, but they're not necessarily like stars. Yeah. Like aside from SOFM, who's like a legitimately great player, Vietnamese representative, by the way. Good job. We got one in there, but.
I'd say
but it's like Angel. He's good. Ben, he could be a bit flippy, but he's pretty good. But like none of them, in my opinion, like are super stand out in terms of players.
I would argue that Wanfong.
That's true.
But outside, well, Sword Art is also decent on that bot lane, but I agree with the other two. Like they're definitely their solo lanes are the weak point of this team. For sure.
But I say like even then it's a similar deal. It's like Wanfong, he's good. Sword Art, he's good. But none of these players are like great aside from SOFM.
Yes.
None of these players they're solid players. Mm-hmm. And Wanfong, he's been good, but I feel like the meta shift also just really helped him as well. He's looked a lot better when the ADC meta just shifted in favor of more utility-esque carries like Ashe and Jhin.
I have a soft spot because he literally has a Jhin mask in his picture, man. I'm such a Jhin fan. Yeah. He literally became instantly one of my favorite ADCs off of that. And he's been good at it too. It's not just like a bias thing. Also, like you mentioned, he's been really good with the utility.
As soon as the meta shifted to Caitlyn, and then Caitlyn counters like Ashe and Jhin, he's been like in his element now.
So,
right. And again, like I said, I feel like they counter a lot of like some of the better teams at Worlds. Like if you want to talk about like Suning versus DRX, Suning probably just beats them.
I agree.
It's
like, which I think most people don't realize that.
Even Suning versus like if we talk about Damwon being one of the best teams, like imagine Suning versus Damwon. Like Damwon's aggression may be really good, but Suning might just be able to beat them because of just how they play against teams like that.
It's the exact same issue I have with Suning and G2. I think it's going to be much closer than people realize because they just absorb aggression. They are the best slow team in the world. They have taken over because Gen G's actually picked up the pace a bit. Like what we used to think about Gen G, like being just slow, but they're good at it, or RNG, or Billy even last split. Suning has taken that role.
Yeah. But even then, I feel like a lot of times they actually come out punching. Like
they come out punching, they just can't close.
Like it wasn't like game 1 of the V5 series during the regular season where they drafted like nothing but like 3 losing lanes and all late game scaling champions, and they just got their shit kicked in early on, and we're at like a freaking 5,000 to 8,000 gold deficit when they're trying to reach power spikes.
This is actually I wanted to bring this up. Team Liquid, I really want them to get to Group A, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to me because I think they don't make it out of groups no matter what. Because Team Liquid being G2, lol, not even close. Suning as well. On top of that, is just the better version of Team Liquid. They do the thing that Team Liquid wants to do because they have an aggressive super carry jungler.
They do what TL likes to do, but with a jungler.
Yes, you can play 3 losing lanes possibly. You don't really want to ever play 3 losing lanes, let's be honest. But you can play 3 scaling lanes to the extent if your jungler is super proactive in making tons of plays around the map to be the bridge for your laners. If you play 3 scaling lanes and your jungler is also just AFK farming, you're going to lose the game.
He's Graves. 3 losing lanes and a Graves.
Yeah, that's the issue between Team Liquid and Suning. Suning's so much better at it because of the jungle position.
Yeah, and I feel like this comes down to the fact that I think Suning just knows how to draft as well.
Yeah, Suning's also really good at draft.
Like, I feel like that's like the one thing I can say about Suning, aside from like their couple, like 1 or 2 snafus, they actually know how to draft.
I actually think
draft to their style as well. They never draft themselves into stupid holes.
Yeah, I think Suning, JDG, and Top are insanely good drafting teams. I think Top or JDG is so difficult to draft against because they have you can only ban so much. They have so many. They don't have oceans. They don't have oceans. They have the issue where they have must ban. Yeah, exactly. For every player. Every player has like 2 to 3 must bans.
Kanavi's Nidalee.
Yep, Kanavi's Nidalee. Yagao's Zoe or his Twisted Fate or LeBlanc. Those are his like 3 champions he can play.
That's his champion pool.
Yeah, it's his pool. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they don't have like big pools, but those pools are like they don't lose games on them, and you have to give them something. Like because you can't ban it all. Like Zoom even like Zoom's Ornn you have to ban. Lamau's Rakan you probably have to ban. Like,
yeah, I mean, you have like Zoom. It's like, oh man, we just gave away Nidalee, and then Zoom just picks Camille, and like, well, I guess the game's over now.
They're good. Anyway, let's go to number 4. Team number 4. I'm assuming they are my top A tier team. They very well could be an S tier team. Yeah. It really just depends.
Here's what I'll say. I told you that I have 3 S tier teams.
Yes.
And I did told you that I just gave you my last B tier team.
Yeah, so you only have 1 A tier team.
Yes.
That's funny. I had 4 A tiers. But this is the best by a large margin. Not large. A large margin compared to the bottom 2. I think the Suning G2. Also G2.
I feel like that's kind of where it was. I think our B and C tier teams kind of like we're kind of murky together with your A to B tier teams.
Yes. I do think G2 is an A tier on the verge of S tier.
Yep, G2's there as well.
I think
Gamers 2 esports.
I think Wonder, fantastic top laner, the best non-Chinese top laner outside of Nogri, I would say. Like the best Western top laner, I guess you could say at that point, but by a large margin too.
Yep.
And I think Jankos is been kind of a weak point at the moment. Like, but if he can go into like a tank role player, I think that's good.
If we just get him a Sejuani,
yeah,
fine.
just give him Sejuani every game. You're all good.
Put him on Braum every game.
Caps phenomenal. Like great year for Caps.
Oh yeah.
My biggest concern for G2 is actually the bot lane, which is stunning because Perkz, back when he was a bot laner last time, before Spring Split when he went to mid, was really good. But his issue was champ pool. He only had like a Xayah, Kai'Sa, and Draven outside of mages. Like, and none of those are meta right now.
They're borderline. They're borderline at best.
And I would really only say Xayah is the borderline one. I don't think Draven is
no,
always.
Kai'Sa is. No, there's been a lot of Kai'Sa. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of different regions playing like Kai'Sa, Nautilus, and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, Kai'Sa can work with Nautilus. I think she's very situational, but
she's definitely situational. I'm just saying I've seen more regions play Kai'Sa than Xayah.
Okay. But I would say, and Draven is always just a pocket pick for certain ADCs. He's some ADCs can play him, some ADCs
like
can't.
Hans Sama.
Yeah, exactly. Not Caitlyn like C9 apparently can't play. Sorry.
Can't play it.
I always bring that comparison to because like I've always say Draven is a specialty type of ADC that there's certain players that can, certain players that can't. Caitlyn is just
I don't get it, man.
Your normal.
I don't get it.
ADC.
It's like C9, DRX, Mad Lions. I don't know. I guess none of them can play Caitlyn.
Yeah, apparently Caitlyn is super difficult.
Yeah. C9 crushing every scrims with every champion, but then also somehow just losing every scrim with Caitlyn and against Caitlyn. I don't know. Something about that doesn't make any sense?
It makes zero sense.
Just say that.
All right. I think, well, since I wanted to do this like an hour 30 and we're at hour 36, we have our top three.
Yep.
Who is your third? I'm sure we can this is the top tier. These are the S tiers. Yep. Everyone knows.
Yep. I would say my number 3 is Damwon.
Yep, me too.
Damwon.
Yep, me too.
I said they were close to being A tier with G2, but I feel like I just gave them the rub for bottom of S.
They haven't proven that they can
lose. They are in Korea.
Yes.
Big fish, small pond.
Yes.
How good are they actually?
Yes, they've looked, but it's also it's not like sometimes with the teams like that where they don't just steamroll people, they just win. Like Team Liquid, for example, like back last 2 years, they don't steamroll people, but they win. Damwon has steamrolled the rest of Korea, they draft good.
This is spring C9 in Korea. Like literally, no one's close. Everyone just gets their ass kicked,
and that's why they get the benefit of the doubt from me. Is that they can't be better if they tried almost. And they draft well. They don't have these draft mistakes that we see from Gen G, DRX, T1 that are just abysmal drafts. Damwon drafts pretty well.
Yeah, I literally look at this team and I'm seeing like, okay, where's the weakness? The closest I say is Nuguri.
Nuguri has been.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious that of all the teams that you can say like, oh, who's the weakness? Nuguri.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who was like their superstar top laner.
The guy who also mentioned is the top 2 top laner at Worlds.
Yeah, he was like the Shy of the LCK.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like a better Shy now.
He kind of, he is, absolutely. I would agree with that.
I will say the one thing I will say is that apparently with his injury, I don't know what conditions he's going to be in going into Worlds. That's like the one question mark I have. If he was already a weakness for the team, if he's not in the best shape, it could be an issue. But I still think that players like Cannon, Showmaker have all been good. I think Ghost and Beryl have been like unsung heroes for this team. I think they're both super good.
I mean, Ghost replacing Regular has changed this team completely. Goes from losing weak side bot side every single game to winning bot side.
On any and there's several different matchups too. They're actually like him and Beryl are actually been really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of like stepped up into like the def carrier position of just being one of the probably the best bot lane duo.
Yeah,
like you have players like Teddy falling off the face of the planet.
Yep.
So, I think this team is just good. Like we talk about like Korea having like 1 or 2 players, like superstar players on a team. Well, this one has like, we have like 3 superstar players, and then the other 2 are also just really good. they can draft, and they have a clear play style, and they actually know how to play out the game.
Yes,
and they're aggressive.
These are the S tier teams that essentially do not have a weakness at the moment. Like barely, they have the slightest little.
The weakness they have is the weakness they have is very minimal, and it's entirely based on the enemy team.
Yes.
Playing into that weakness hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can put weaknesses for the next two teams as well.
Yes, and
I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say you have 2 and 1 as JDG and Top Esports.
Yes, obviously how they went. And I know it's boring to say because we have a lot of big underdog fans. Obviously, I'm a big underdog fan as well. I almost want to see Top and JDG in the finals because I want round 3 so bad.
You just want the rubber match.
I want the rubber match. These teams in spring, JDG won a best of 5. It took 5 games. It was amazing. Bloodbath. JDG won in spring. Top in summer, they both met in the finals again. Won a bloodbath best of 5, one of the best of 5s of all time, in my opinion. Just so good.
I mean, what better stage? JDG versus Top Esports World Finals after having 2 best of 5s that both went to 5 games in their respective splits. Both of them won. They are 1 and 1 each in best of 5s. Now meeting in the World Finals in China. And the first time it's 2 Chinese teams.
Mm-hmm.
This would literally become like This would be like the 2016 Worlds for like what 2016 Worlds was for Korea.
Yes. How many did Korea?
2015 Worlds.
Korea won 4 in a row, right?
Yeah, they won
3.
No, it's even more than that. No, it was more than that. It was they won 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
So.
It was SKT won in 2013.
Samsung White and
Samsung White in 14, and then 15 and 16 were SKT, and then 17 was Samsung.
Okay, so we still got some work to do, but for China to be the new Korea.
But I mean, 2015 Worlds was. 2015 Worlds was. It was 2 years in a row of. It had two different Korean teams winning, and then 2015 was the first time it was Korea versus Korea in the finals. LPL is on the verge of doing that too.
Yeah, that's
they won 2018, 2019 with 2 different teams, and now potentially having a double China final.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, the only 2 teams that I can truly see, because we've seen the matchup, by the way. We saw Top versus Suning. We have Suning as the 5th best team coming into Worlds. Like, that's a dark horse. Top annihilated them. Like, It wasn't even remotely.
Well, to be fair, I don't have Suning as the dark horse. I have Suning as B tier.
Fair. So your only dark horse is essentially G2.
Yes.
Yeah.
G2's the one team that has proven that they are a dark horse team.
I 100% agree.
This is the only team that 100% of their roster was the same roster as last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they made World Finals.
And G2 to me as
and
well.
They won an MSI.
G2.
I think they're like the one team. They're like the one team at Worlds that actually all 5 players had world experience within the past year.
Yeah, it's hard to call Damwon. G2 and Damwon are only hopes for China not to win Worlds again. Basically, is how I've looked at it for like 2 months now. Like going like the last 2 months or a month and a half.
It's true. I mean, it's well. Here's the thing. I think the true hope to stop one of those teams from winning Worlds is it's actually FlyQuest and Mad Lions. They just had to knock Top Esports out of groups.
Yeah. I like seriously.
Hey, think about it. That's what they had to do. They had to do it in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Spice had their chance. Spice and J Team had their chance to knock FunPlus Phoenix out in groups.
They did. You're right. I did say day 1 of Worlds that FunPlus Phoenix were not going to lose a game at Worlds, and they lost the very first game against J Team, who I also loved, but that was a tough pill to swallow. I looked like a clown. They still won Worlds though, but it did not start out good. But yeah, that would be the power rankings. I think we can move on now to our World Top 20. And I'm curious. Yeah. There probably won't be as much discussion because it's not team-based as much. It's more player-based. But there might be because I actually do have a little bit of spice. And I think you had mentioned how you have some spice as well. Let me merge these cells properly so it actually looks correct. There we go. All right. So obviously we're going to start with 20, right? You don't want to know the best, which, spoiler alert, you already know what the best is for probably both our lists. But
I'm pretty sure our top 5 is probably almost exactly the same.
It's probably pretty close.
We'll see, I guess.
Probably pretty close. I had mentioned this earlier, how much I really respected him. He got my 20th spot. There was a lot of competition for this 20th spot. You know, I think I had mentioned to you, I essentially made a top 30 in the extent that I put 6 players from each position, the top 6, I think, from each position, and kind of crossed it out from there. Doesn't mean that I have exactly the amount of 4 players from each position. There are definitely differences.
I mean, I'll see how I did it. I literally went by each region and each team that are at Worlds, went through their rosters, and I just wrote down all the names that I felt like could be on the list. And then I went through it a second time, and I put like a star against players. So like, okay, this player needs to be on this list.
Gotcha. I mean, I have this list here.
And I think I literally got up to 18 starred players, and then like the last 2 were just 2 that I felt like I had to pick from the non-starred.
Interesting. Okay. I had it basically where I ranked the top 16, so I did the 16 major regions, including the PCS teams. And
why?
I don't know why. There was actually one position where they did not get second, last, and last, actually. And I'll tell you that because it's not in the top 20 and we're not going to do it. It was top lane. I actually put Finn as number 16. I think that Hanabi and PK are actually... They're also... It's an unfortunate thing for Finn that both of the PCS top laners are really, really good in PK and Hanabi. But outside of that, they were 15 and 16 everywhere else.
By the way, I will say that I just counted them up. The total number of players that I wrote down and I did get even a couple from NA. I did give them some shoutouts. None of them were starred, by the way.
None of NA made my top 30.
Well, I mean, none of them probably made my top 30 either, but I had 39 total players that I wrote
down. Fair. Yeah, I think that's about like late 30s, early 40s is where NA makes it. Sorry, NA fans. Yeah. All right, boys. Well, Bjergsen would be my number 1 and Core JJ's number 2 from NA, but they're not.
Dude, I was legitimately considering one of those 2 or either Santorin or PoE, but I was like, nah. I think Santorin was a close third. It was a third behind.
Yes, yeah, that was the.
But it's like if I was going to put those on there, I would rather probably put a player like, spoiler alert, they're not going to be on the list, but a player like Kaiser or Selfmade or Larson before either of those players.
Yeah, that's me. I'll do like a spoiler.
And that's just the Western players, by the way.
Kaiser, Reckless, I would have put.
I'm not even talking about like LPL players that didn't make my top 20. Because there's a lot. I had almost 20 players on the LPL.
I actually had
I wrote down
all 3 of the 4 supports. Not Hylissang, surprise. From EU got really close to making the list, but didn't make the list. But they were all really close. All right, number 20. I mentioned this earlier. I put Wanfang in for number 20. Actually,
gotcha. Okay.
I thought I
can understand that.
He, like you had mentioned, the meta changed, and he just performed insane lately. And actually has been one of the main reasons why Suning came from SOFM carrying an average team to SOFM carrying a top 5 team in the world now. I think that the bot lane improving so much with him and Sword Art is the main reason for that.
Yep. I think he's fair. He didn't make my list because I feel like he was pretty meta dependent up until that point.
Close.
Yeah, I think he was. He didn't even make my 39 list. Okay, he probably was going to be 40 if I decided to put him on there, but I'm not going to, because I feel like he was slightly more meta dependent than anything else.
Fair.
Like the fact that he only kind of showed up like once his champions kind of came up is kind of like. So,
but his champions are in the meta during Worlds.
Exactly. I know, but it's like I'm still not going to discount. I'm not going to discount that he's good, but I'm not going to put him on my top 20 list because his meta is in, or something like that. Because his play was not consistent enough throughout summer leading up to Worlds.
Okay. So who's your number 20?
I mean, he's at the end of the day, he's still on Suning, and Suning was still just kind of just better than LGD, and that's it.
Yes.
My number 20 is actually Keria. I feel like he's like the one player on DRX, despite DRX really infuriating me, that he's actually trying. He's still good, and it feels like he's like the closest thing to making DRX games like a 2v8 with Chovy.
Interesting. Yeah. Keria did not make my list.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
was kind of close, but I'm like I kind of gotta give the nod to Kyria. Like he hasn't been playing poorly. He's been trying.
He's been trying. That's fair. I mean,
and for the longest time he was good. He was probably he was argued to be the best support in the LCK.
Oh, absolutely. He was the best support in the LCK for the first half of the split. He actually fell to 7th support for me at Worlds at the moment. For that, I think. But I mean, there's good competition up there.
Yep. I think I still have him. Like 3rd as support,
okay.
but he's a distant 3rd.
Okay, that's fair. All right, you go next with number 19.
Yeah. Number 19, I kind of shouted him out earlier. I think he's underrated. I have Ghost.
Ghost. Ooh. That's I didn't take a look at your list.
This guy, he's on the best team by far at the LCK, and he's been a solid part of getting them to that best spot. As soon as he came in, the team just looked better. He's been like dark horse for one of the best AD carries in Korea, and he's just a super solid player overall.
Interesting. I actually had him I think I could have had him higher. I put him as the 8th best ADC coming in, but obviously Double is going to be number 1 now. No, I'm joking. But
BRTT number 1.
BRTT number 1. Yeah, Double too. But I had him as the 8th best, but I definitely see some ADCs I could have maybe made some wiggle room around there for him to if I didn't go so much off name per se on one in particular.
Yep. I'm just going to say, spoiler alert, Deft did not make the list.
Deft also missed my list, which I thought was kind of surprising. Yep. That was the name I was talking about.
I was considering putting Deft at number 20, but I was like, no, Kyria has been playing better than him.
Deft I had at number 6 for ADCs, by the way, which sounds crazy to me, but I even had someone like Reckless, who I already said wasn't on my list. I had him higher than Deft, actually.
Yep.
And I could have probably put Ghost higher than him as well.
All right. So who did you have next?
My number 19 was actually Selfmade. I put it number 19.
Gotcha.
I think.
I can already spoiler that the Selfmade is not on my top 20.
I like this that we actually have 2 players each that aren't on each other's list, but they're also good players in the sense that.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that Selfmade is almost 1v5ing or 2v5ing, I should say, on Fnatic. 1v5ing as in being the carry of it, while Reckless is behind doing the work, the backup. He's not hurting. It's a 2v8, we should say sometimes.
Can you maybe make the letters a little bit bigger? It's a little hard coming up on the screen.
Yes. I will do that.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, I will say like Selfmade was also a consideration, but I feel like at the same time, I feel like we only started seeing Selfmade in playoffs.
That is.
Before then, he was just kind of just like on the same level as the rest of his team, which is not good.
I thought he was playing okay in the sense. I thought he had a few games where he ran it down, but I think for the most part, I thought he was less coin flippy than the rest of the team early on. But
he was probably, but at the same time, half the time he would be like maybe like the 3rd best at best on his team.
Okay.
Like for the longest time, like there are games where he was literally behind Whippo and Reckless was like the best player. And then there are times where if Selfmade was having a good game, it was also because Nemesis was having. So for the longest time, up until playoffs, it was his performance was incredibly dependent on his team. And so when his team looked bad, he also looked bad, and then he played bad, and then his team also looked bad. So playoffs was like the first time we've got a glimpse of that, and even then, it's hard to tell how good he actually was. He had a throne series versus G2. Then he got crushed in the finals. Then they had a good series against Rogue, but then Rogue showed that they were really just kind of underperforming, and then they adjusted and then played G2 stronger than Fnatic did.
Okay, that is fair. I do think though Selfmade, if that's my thing is, if Fnatic is going to make it out of groups, Selfmade has to be performing at the top of his game and be the carry for the team, because he's going to have some tough competition there with Clid and
tough competition. Here comes Spica.
Clid and Peanut is what I was talking about.
And Spica.
Spica didn't make the top list, actually.
Oh,
feels bad. Spica finished for junglers 13th out of 16. That's not terrible. It's not the worst NA jungler of Broxah.
It's literally not the worst.
I actually had Broxah as 14th, if you don't, and that's the worst if you don't count the PCS. But
Broxah shouldn't even been on the list. He's not a jungler. He doesn't exist in the game.
Well, that's the reason why I was last of the main regions. I'm sorry. I love Broxah. I feel bad because I love him and he's such a nice person, but his performance has been very poor, like just very non-existent.
He's a nice guy, but I'm not judging on how nice of a guy you are. Otherwise, Golden Glue is number 1.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Number 18 is hang on. All right. Yagao, I have at number 18.
Yagao was close. I did have him on my list. I did have him on my 39 list, but he did not make it.
Damn.
I'll say. By the way, spoiler. Neither did Loken. I'm not sold on either of those two.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Fuck them.
Okay.
Dude, did you know for the longest time I have not been on board with Yagao or Loken?
I've also been on board.
I think they're by far the weakest players on that team.
Okay, I agree.
It's like they're by far the weakest players, and as soon as you take like Yagao off of his comfort, then he looks like shit.
But his comfort, it's like 5 champions though, so you'd have to ban all 5 out.
Not really. There's only like one that I'm really scared about, and that's his Zoe.
His Twisted Fate and LeBlanc are pretty good as well.
Well, Twisted Fate is just fucking busted right now,
That's
dude.
fair.
Versus a god on Twisted Fate. Hell, fucking Nemesis can look like an actual human being sometimes on Twisted Fate.
All right, name your 18 and then explain it, because I actually have to go grab dinner. I usually would wait, but it's a steak, so I don't want it to get cold.
Okay.
I want to know your 18 so I can type it.
My 18 is Peanut.
Oh, he just barely missed my list.
You suck. You're actually just wrong. You put Yagao on your list, but not Peanut?
Yeah, I did. Peanut was probably 21.
You put Huanfeng on your list, but not Peanut?
It was literally between Huanfeng and Peanut for the 20th spot the whole time.
It should have been between Yagao and Huanfeng to who even made the list.
I love that we have 3 different players still. Explain why Peanut's on the list for you, though. I'll be right back. Less than a minute.
I mean, if you want to talk about if you want to talk about self-made jungle 1v9 for Fnatic, that is Peanut. Peanut has been make or break for this LGD squad, and as soon as he's hit onto like Rocks Tigers form, going into playoffs, he's been a monster. This team looked like an absolute beast, and he has been the star at the very forefront to the point where he is legitimately in conversation for being one of the best junglers at Worlds and one of the best junglers in China. And considering your competition are players like SOFM and Kanavi, that's pretty huge, actually.
Yeah, he was my number 6.
And he can't hold his own. They can be coin flippy, but it's his entire he is the star of this team. They live and die by Peanut, and Peanut has been living at large right now.
That's fair. I was lied to. I was told dinner was ready. I go out there and they're like, dinner's ready in 5 more minutes. I'm like, well, that's not ready then, is it?
Well, it's not ready then. Fuck.
All right. Number 17 though for me is Loken. I do have him on my top 20 list. I think he is
monster.
I think he is a top 3 ADC.
Loken, Yagao, and Huanfeng, but not Peanut.
Loken is a top 3 ADC at Worlds this year, in my opinion.
Self-made, but not Peanut.
Listen, someone had to cut, man. And you're more upset about Peanut being cut than Deft, but there's another.
Because Deft's been playing like shit, dude.
That's fair. That's fair. But you're gonna really hate me for another. There's one big cut that's even bigger than Peanut, by the way. Peanut was 21, and there was another one. Yeah, Peanut.
I'll say right now, I was considering putting GA on the list.
GA got cut from mine as well. He was close.
but I would definitely say no. Peanut goes on here before GA does.
Yeah.
No question. All right, number 17. I have SOFM.
Oh, okay. I actually think SOFM is much higher than 17, but.
Oh yeah. I think he's good. I think he's like the less coin flippy version of Peanut. He's the star on his team by far. I think Peanut is like in like the weird similar sort of trajectory as like a player like Blabber, where when he's on, and SOFM is more like the Santorin, where if he's on, but then he's almost consistently just close to on, if not on. But if he's off, he's bad, sure. But if
you almost never see
Peanut is off, he's gonna murder his own team. SOFM usually won't do that.
So this is the first player that we actually both have on our list at the same time. Should I announce where I put SOFM, or should we wait for where I put him?
I would go ahead and just put it. It'd be interesting.
All right.
It's kind of like work, is it?
SOFM
number 1. SOFM.
SOFM number 1. No, SOFM made number 10. He was top 10 player.
I think that was fair.
He is the reason Suning here is at Worlds here. Wonfong and Sword Art coming up, but like he is the reason they made playoffs. I should even say.
Oh yeah, I'll say right now my numbers 13. I would say like my numbers 13 through 19. I kind of like been shuffling them inconclusively for a while now.
Yeah, all these players, really good players.
I finally decided on a final like list for them.
I think,
and I'm happy enough.
But the thing that was difficult about this World's Top 20 is I think there's like 40 to 50 legitimately really good players. Like we can meme NA all day, but like Bjergsen's played phenomenal this year. Core JJ's played phenomenal. They're late 30s, like early 40s for pick like rank wise. That's how good Worlds is this year, like player wise, in my opinion.
in terms of individual talent.
Yeah, individual talent for sure.
And I think that's what it comes down to is that aside from SOFM, I do not value any of the players on Suning as players nearly as highly. Like, okay. I mean, there's like SOFM is like number 17 on my list, but like players like Angel and Bin are probably not even close to this top 20.
No, not even close. I agree with that.
They're like high 20s, maybe even in the 30s. Mm-hmm. But they're still good. And I think like the strength of Suning as a team is their team play and how they play as a team. And SOFM just kind of leads the charge and is the standout player.
Did you see Raptor's comment? We were talking about how there's so many great players in your award. There's like, and then there's Finn.
And then there's Fint. And there's Fint who gets Flame Horizon in every game.
Oh, yeah. That's
feels bad, man.
I told you he's the only player out of all the major. Hopefully, maybe he proves me wrong, but he's currently the only player that is below any of the PCS players out of all the 4 major regions. Every other player is at least above them.
Feels good, man.
But he also got unlucky where he got literally the best players on the team are their top laners for the PCS team.
Nice.
They're just a really bad outcome for him.
Yep. Gonna feel bad. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to pick a useless champion.
All right. Number 16 on my list is actually Karsa.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I have Karsa on my list. And he's also at 16.
Oh, look at that! We matched. That's actually impressive for this low on the list.
We actually have in the same spot.
That's nice. So why is Karsa exactly 100%? No way. This is just 2 opinions. This is 100% fact. Why is Karsa the 16th best player in Worlds?
Because he's a good player. He's a solid player. Pretty consistent jungler. Mm-hmm. He's had his off moments.
Yes.
But he feels much more just like an enabler to the stars on a much greater team.
Yes, I agree. And I think he has had off moments, but like he is what Knight has missed for so long. A real person.
An actual jungler.
An actual jungler that will get things for you. And then like he enables Jackie Love and Knight to be the superstars that they are. He makes sure that the enemy junglers, he can be aggressive. He can do pretty much all. Like I was just looking the other day, like Karsa has played for so freaking long in pro play.
Yeah, dude. Dude has been around forever.
Like, oh my god! Like, what was it? Like, I think he said like season 3, season 4, maybe he was at Worlds then.
I want to say he was on the. I want to say he was on the Gamania Bears in season 3 in the World Championship.
Yeah, I think he was. I think it was season 3. He was at Worlds and he hasn't missed Worlds since. Like he's been to Worlds.
Dude's been a beast. He's been very consistent.
Very consistent.
He's the new Clearlove.
Yeah, pretty much. And Clearlove's now the head coach, right? Is he still
I think
head coach
so.
for EDG? He didn't get fired, did he?
I don't know actually. But yep, like I said, Carson. I feel like he's just a really solid player. He's and like his highs are high, his lows are still pretty high.
Yeah, he's not a like 1v9 type jungler as much anymore, I would say. But like he's still like
sometimes he has those games too though. And that's the thing with him.
He can still pull it out every now and then. It's not as consistent on those, but for the most part he's never going to lose hard.
Yeah, he is the enabler.
Yes.
And he's probably one of the best enabler junglers.
Yes. I'm curious. So, can we get another matchup in the top 11 through 20?
Nah, probably not. Probably not. My number 15 is Wunder.
Damn it! We're so close. I have Wunder at number 14.
Oh Jesus.
Oh
well, here I'll spoil this. I'm really curious now because my number 14 is 369.
Oopsies! What happened? Oh, that was creepy. Where'd my thing go? Did I just kill the whole thing? But it's okay. I'll load it back up. There.
Whoa.
There it goes.
I just saw the stream just catch up to that. So you just killed it all. You killed everything.
I killed everything. I hit a button, and I don't know what button I hit on my computer that apparently deleted the tab that I was on.
Everything is deleted.
Mm-hmm. All right. Luckily, didn't delete the tab, I should say. Just closed out the browser. But who'd you say was your 14?
My 14 was 369.
Ryan!
That's why I brought it up. Did we just swap them?
I have 369 13. So we're still close.
Damn it. We're getting there though. We're making our way.
I think 369 so we have actually the exact same top laners, top 4 at least. Which is the important part, like order. Yeah. I think Wunder and 369 are pretty much equal level. But like Wunder has been phenomenal in the playoffs. He did struggle this like spring season or summer season, but he's really stepped up in playoffs.
Yeah, and again, I feel like that comes down to I feel like the level of play that he brought in playoffs was insane, and it makes up so much for some of his middling performance in the summer split, as opposed to like a player like Selfmade.
Yes.
Where like he showed up and like they kind of threw away stuff, but like Wunder was class in summer consistently, and as a solo laner, it's a little bit more easy to stand out in that way, as opposed to like I'm self-made. We're gonna get Lucian Evelyn every game, and I'm gonna look good.
Yeah, and I think if Wunder would have played the way he played in playoffs in the summer split as well, he might be a top 10 player at that point. Like the fact that he struggled so much during the regular season, like I mean, it's not like he did bad, but he definitely wasn't great. Yeah. But
it's without question the only thing that's keeping him back from 369, and the whole thing with 369 is the fact that he's been super solid, consistent, and a super solid, consistent player. He's been just as much now he's actually starting to carry a little bit more while still being like that stable rock in the top lane.
Yeah, and super young
for a superstar lineup.
Super young.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. So
freaking Chinese top laners, man, they're getting stronger by the day.
I mean, yeah, like what is the Shy? Like 21 still? Like they're still so young.
Well, the Shy is Korean.
Well, that's true. That is true. But he plays in China, so I consider him Chinese in the sense that Chinese.
It's like rookie man, that Chinese native.
Yeah. Yeah. Try again. All right. I'm gonna put my number 15 player, and then I'm curious if he's on. He's probably on your list. I assume everyone from here on out we're on the lists.
Yeah, I think we've kind of breached
most likely
the level.
Most likely, maybe I still have one that maybe. I still have one that's a pretty big.
Number 15, GA.
Number 15.
Number 15, Shadow.
Nope.
Not from EU.
Number 15 is Lamau, for me.
Really? Oh, 15.
Yes.
I think this is gonna be our biggest discrepancy since SOFM.
Oh, where do you have?
I have Lamau, number 7.
Oh wow, that's really high up the list.
I think Lamau is a monster. He's actually just super fucking good.
I agree with that in the sense
he is by far the best. He's the best support in the world. Easily.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm giving it, and I give props. For the same reason that I gave Carrier props to have him make top 20, I'm giving Lamau props for being
Mm-hmm.
a monster, for being an absolute beast.
Keep talking about how amazing he is. I do have to get to dinner now. Now it's ready. But
I got you.
he's pretty awesome. I actually really think
Yeah,
his engages are world class.
yeah. Like this is a guy who's like legitimately close to on a team of superstars, actually putting himself out there as like like a 1v9 carry in China of all places. Like there's actually not too much else to say than that. Like you're talking about players like around him, like on the rest of his team. I know I'm sad. It should have. Well, if it was PP God, I put him at number one of the list, and no one would have changed my mind. But like you're talking about a team of players that have guys like Zoom and Kanavi. They're like legitimate superstars on this team, and then you have Lamau, who has to lane with a monkey, and he still stands out as a beast. He basically is the spiritual successor of PP God. Oh yeah, Will, you're actually muted right now
Thank you.
on the
Thank you.
stream.
Thank you.
There you go.
But there's a
Just making
big
sure.
issue though to bring up. I did not know, since it's I did know this part. My brother's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to
Oh
him.
yeah.
They want to, for the first time ever in 3 years, sit at the table to eat steak and celebrate the birthday. So what we're gonna do, because I don't want to like create two things, Ryan, I am going to give you the rest of my list. Do you think
Go
it would
right
be
ahead.
okay for you to take control for eat as fast as I can? Probably 5-10 minutes at most.
I mean, sure. I mean, if you want to, if you want to discuss, I will flame your list.
You will absolutely flame my list. That is okay. I do have to actually write the list. I have it on paper, so I'm gonna write it to you really quickly here. And
All right.
while that happens, I will eat as fast as I can, and then I will be back. I
All right.
apologize.
So I will. I obviously won't be able to put it on for display, but I'll do my best to try to at least speak it outwards
Yes,
toward
yes.
for the people in the live audience.
I can actually give you the link to the thing as well, so you can actually put it
Yeah,
on.
but I mean, I can. I mean,
Oh,
we
you're
can,
on
I
your
mean, we
phone.
can do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
you have your laptop there too.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I could probably still pull it up, but it'd be kind of awkward. So.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you
Oh
can.
yeah, give it to give it to Raptor. I want to see Raptor do it. Apparently he can do it.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do
And then
that.
he and I can shit on it together.
Absolutely. I mean, you can flame me as much as you want because I actually want to look back at this and watch the flame because I do have a little bit of spice in here. Oopsies, that wasn't all of it. Delete.
Oh no.
Hang on, I'm gonna. Don't
All
look
right.
at that. Don't look at that.
Oh no. Okay.
You didn't. You didn't look because I was changing something. And damn it! I hit enter again. Oh my god, I'm a mess right now because I'm trying to do this like really quick, you know. But yeah, so
Okay.
while we're talking here, so we can continue it. I do have my number
Yes.
12 person actually, or you do your number 13 person.
Oh well, my number 13 person is BDD.
BDD. This is where oh man,
Yes.
I wish I wasn't
BD.
here. BDD is not on my list.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I mean, that's why I actually ranked him low, but I'm like, well, I feel like he's still good enough as a player. He's really strong mechanically, in order to put him on the list with everything else. But he wasn't going to be high as like some of the superstar players.
All right, there's the list for you, and then I will give this to Raptor. Sure, anyone can.
This is gonna be interesting.
Copy link, change. Viewer, you can now be an editor on there, and
Raptor, he can now put that on his resume. He's an editor.
He's an
for
editor.
This podcast.
I will be back in 5 to 10 minutes. My bad.
So that's actually kind of interesting. I mean, I kind of gave my points on BDD. I don't have too much of opinion on him, but like I said, if there's like these points where you have players like Ruler and BDD are like the two players on Gen G, They're actually kind of worth a damn, and a lot of their victories are stemmed off of how those two play and succeed. And for the most part, they actually do step up. I would say BDD is clearly a step below a lot of the other laners in Korea, the mid laners in Korea, but he's still a pretty solid player all around. Now, so I think we both have our 13 through 20 done. That means we have to go to number 12. This will be interesting because Will has Beryl from the support for Damwon Gaming. And my number 12, on the other hand, is also Beryl from Damwon Gaming. So Will leaves, and we have our second same spot. But it's actually for a similar reason that I have Beryl on my list. Obviously, I can't speak to Will's reasoning. All I can do is comment on it. It's not obviously nothing I can criticize there. We had the same exact spot. I know it's what the fuck, two Shens, but yeah, for a similar reason that I say Ghost was underrated as a player, as an ADC. I think Beryl, he's been super good, stepped up really hard. Like he's the best support in Korea right now. And for the same, obviously the same reason I gave props to Keria for playing well and to the point where I gave him number 20. Same reason I kind of gave props to Beryl and rank him highly at number 12. But again, similar thing to kind of like the live math thing. I think the step between the two is actually. I still think Beryl's super strong, super good player, and he's actually been really clutch for them working together with Canyon as well to set up a lot for team fights. Now here we go. Number 11 next up. We're gonna have a bit of a difference here. Number 11 for me this time it is Nuguri. And Will actually does also have Nuguri on his list. But Nuguri does make the top 10 for him. He is at number 8. Just kind of give time for the stream to catch up to make sure everything's written down. Kind of just making my own little comments on Nuguri. I actually did at one point. I think I had Nuguri as high as number 9, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought that he is a good player. He's really strong carry threat from top lane, but I feel like he's also been a pretty sizable weakness at times for the teams if he has bad games or if he gets focused pretty well. But still, obviously a strong player, but a step below the other players in my top 10, at least in my opinion. I imagine Will feels pretty similarly. He has him ranked even higher, as high as the top 10. It's obviously his boy on his team, Damwon Korea, so makes sense. Let's see. Just talking about in the chat. If anything, Group B, Rogue can upset Damwon, not JDG. Yeah, I think that is that's a fair point, actually. Like I said, I think JDG is just like a better version of Rogue. Whatever game Rogue likes to play, JDG will just play it better. It has better players. Damwon, I think Damwon is more like the stylistic difference. If they can be very aggressive, and if Rogue is put on the back foot early, they can just kind of get rolled all over the place. And I mean, it's just the mismatch in top lane. Like if you're talking about like Nuguri having a bad game, he's probably not going to have a bad game versus. He's probably not going to have a bad game versus Finn. Yeah, I think, and it's true. I think Nuguri is fine. I think he's been super strong as a carry, but I think like historically he's been pretty good as well. I think this year he only got better. Obviously, this is before like the injury. We don't know what condition he's going to. Wunder, like I said, like we mentioned when we talked about Wunder, he's been kind of off, especially in summer, and he's just now turning it on in for like playoffs onward. If that's the form of Wunder we're getting, then sure. And like what Will said, if Wunder was playing like this all summer, he would have been top 10. For without question, he would have been like top 10 in my opinion. Like Nuguri didn't make top 10 for me, and Wunder is only a couple spots below him, so it's not that big of a difference in my. But next up, I guess I'll go ahead and give Will's number 11 then. Will's number 11, he has Ruler. Threat. It's not too big of a not too big of a deal here. And I guess funny enough, since he had Nuguri at number 8, I had Nuguri at number 11. He had Ruler at number 11. I had Ruler number 9. It was actually those two that I was kind of swapping around in my own head. So I think I ended up coming to the decision that I think Ruler he's been a phenomenal player. I think he's kind of taken the spot as the best AD carry in Korea. He's been performing really well. He's basically like half the time he's like a 1v9 player on Gen G who ended up making worlds. He's just a late game carry threat. He's a strong laner. He's just like the best all around player on his team and one of the best all around players in his region. And he feels like the one player, like if you're ever worried about like, oh, Koreans, can they actually mechanically hold up like they've been banking on in their own region? Ruler's like the one player I would never worry about. He's just a really clutch team fighter on top of being a really good laner. Just great player all around. I imagine we'll probably have some similar things to say. Those two are basically just like kind of interchangeable with each other. Him and like, but I had to rank him above Nuguri because I think consistency I weighted so much more. Let's see. I believe my number 10 is next, which will be interesting because Will already has SOFM as his number 10. My number 10 is JackeyLove. Which, of course, Will also has in his list, also in the top 10. He has him at number 6. A step down from last year where he was the best player in the world, according to Will. But he does actually fail to make the top 5, which I'm both I think that's kind of interesting, but at the same time not, because I feel like if he put JackeyLove in the top 5, he's trolling, but that's just me. I think JackeyLove he's been a really good player. Obviously, if you're talking about like spring impact for top esports, like where top esports were pretty middling in spring, and then JackeyLove joined the team, and like the roster kind of had a huge turnaround, massive run in playoffs, nearly ran it all the way to a finals win, but barely lost in the best of 5. Turned it back around, dominated in summer. They had a bit of a dip at the end, but they pulled it right back. Went at a great series. But I feel like the issue is that he is a great player, but I feel like a lot of the strength that he brings as a player is not necessarily what he brings in the game for like on terms of how he's piloting his champions, but more so in terms of a leadership role, in terms of maybe a shot calling role, that sort of thing. His intangibles are great. He's still a solid player, a strong like mechanical player, but that's not what he's known for. He's not like this super hyper carry right now. And I feel like at the same time he also has kind of like a similar weakness to like Nuguri as a player, where Nuguri can be really prone to just kind of like being useless or even being like a negative champion if he's ever focused in the game. And that is probably like the one weakness we mentioned, like S tier teams at Worlds, um, teams like Damwon, teams like JDG, teams like Top Esports, and that's kind of like what makes JDG a difficult team to play around is the fact that their weaknesses are far less noticeable. They're far more solid and consistent of a team, but they don't have as high highs, which is kind of like the weakness that they have, quote unquote. Whereas Top Esports, I feel like they have really strong parts all across the map, and they play really well as a team. But they also have a much more pronounced weakness, it seems, where if either of their side lanes are attacked super hard, the team and they're attacked successfully, I should say, they can fall apart really easily. Because then, especially if you attack bot lane, where if JackeyLove, at least what we've seen is there are times where we've had games like versus like the V5 series where if JackeyLove is just getting attacked repeatedly in the bot lane and getting set behind, and the enemy team has like no, and Top Esports has no response to it, then Top Esports kind of ends up reverting into their spring form before they had JackeyLove, where they're very middling and they're kind of basing their entire performance on can Karsa and Knight 2v, and that's it. Because they like 369 has stepped up a little bit more as a carry for the team, but it feels like when JackeyLove is attacked, if JackeyLove is ever tilted, if JackeyLove is ever off, the team just as a whole looks bad.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Am I getting? I heard JackeyLove. Am I getting flamed for it?
But by the way, you as soon as you walked away, we had a similarity.
Did we?
We had Beryl at number 12.
Nice. So you said, oh yeah, no, you had Lamau at 7. I was like,
yeah. But I finished discussing a little while ago because like Nuggery and Ruler were kind of like traded back and forth between yours and my list. But I even mentioned that those are like the two positions I kind of like swapped between Ruler and Nuggery on my list repeatedly. like at one point I had Nuggery at 9 and like Jackie at 11 and Ruler at 10, and then I kind of swapped those three in and out. Just kind of talking about like JackeyLove, his strengths as a player, and why I only had him ranked 10. Like I thought he's fine, but he's not like a superstar level, like hyper carry style threat. He's really really good. He's world's caliber for sure, but it feels like much more of his weight is intangible, as opposed to some of the other players. And there are times where when he's being attacked, kind of similar to Nuggery, if he's ever attacked, the team as itself can sometimes look like it's struggling. So I don't rank him as highly for that. Like when he's been attacked in bot lane and bot lane's been set behind, Top Esports just kind of falls into like spring Top Esports form, where they didn't have JackeyLove, and it's all about if Knight can 1v9.
Yeah.
Or if Karsa is playing well.
My issue I've brought up a lot with people attacking the bot lane up top is that it works really well because of Yanja is in the early game is always about supports. Always about supports in the early game. And Yanja is not on this list for a reason compared to the rest of Top Esports.
Yeah, and again, that's why I give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to JackeyLove. Like it's not entirely his fault, but it seems pretty consistent that if bot lane is being attacked repeatedly, JackeyLove is just completely useless, and the team somehow as a whole look like shit.
That's fair.
And it literally comes down. Then they turn into a friggin' LCK team where they had to rely on a 1v9 play from the winner to carry them. They turn it into DRX basically.
All right, where did we get on the list? So you have Lamau.
So I just finished my number 10.
Okay.
And I think I've already had number 9 put up there because we both had Ruler on our list.
All right.
But I think your number 9 is next.
All right, my number 9, which bring up my list here.
Yeah, bring up my list. Spoilers, I already know what it is.
Kanavi is my number 9 on the list. I'm gonna move 369 over to like here. Numbers go to the right side. It is bugging me. But yeah, we got Kanavi at number 9 here. I think Kanavi is one of the best junglers here at Worlds, the best Chinese jungler here at Worlds. Really, well, I know. Before you say it, he's Korean, but from loan from Griffin. But
Griffin,
oh, he's so good. He's so aggressive to the team, and he really is the catalyst that helps. Like Kanavi will have off games where people like I feel like Lamau and Zoom won't have as much off games, but Kanavi's what essentially gets JDG going in every game, pretty much.
Yeah, he is the final form of Blabber.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I think he's also younger than Blabber, which is really weird.
It's called
Blabber
in the LPL.
Blabber ages backwards into Kanavi.
It's called being in the LPL.
Yes,
Every one of the players.
I do have Kanavi. I do have Kanavi on the list as well, but I have Kanavi at number 6.
All right.
I think I value his ability to carry and set up for the team. The combination of being able to be such a hard carry for the team, on top of being an enabler for the rest of his team, and
hurts,
then
doesn't it? As a C9 fan.
and legitimately just having like what you say, like why like being a huge reason why JDG is so fucking hard to draft against, like having these must ban champions.
You have to ban his Nidalee. You have to ban his Nidalee. I think it was the most banned specific champion person to a player in the world. Like, it was almost 100% of the games Nidalee had been banned.
Oh yeah, without question. So I value that a lot. Like he brings value. He brings intangible and very tangible value to this team. Like he obviously can have his off games, but his highs as a player are vastly outweigh his lows. Like he's at least like a 90-10.
Yeah.
In terms of high to low for Kanavi, and when his highs are that high, it's without. He's just good. He's the best. He's the best jungler in the world right now, in my opinion.
Oh, interesting. So I can guess from that deduction who your number 8 is then.
My number 8 is Canyon.
Yes. As the one jungler that that was still remaining, and you said he was the best, so clearly he had to go there. Canyon for me is number 5, I think.
Yep.
Canyon.
I noticed that too when I looked at your list, like, huh? Because our Canyon and Kanavi are basically flipped on our lists.
Yeah, kind of.
Kanavi is 6, Canyon is 8, but you have Canyon 5 and Kanavi 9.
Both.
It's just the gap is slightly larger on your list than my list, but they're both flipped.
Yeah, they're so good. Like they are the junglers that you absolutely love on your team. They can carry your game. They can get your lanes fed to get carried. They do it all.
Yeah.
Like there's like almost like you said with Kanavi, like he forces a ban for your team every single game in the first round.
And the funny thing is, Blabber kind of did that. Blabber was a Kanavi for his team. Every
Olaf.
Team was banning Olaf.
Mm-hmm.
Every team banned his Olaf.
The
every
issue
game.
with Blabber is if he wasn't getting fed, no one's getting fed.
That was literally God, his Olaf is so fucking nasty. Mm-hmm. He's so mean.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate Blabber champion. It's never like a Blabber, Blabber he goes in. That's literally Olaf's kit. Mm-hmm. Olaf's kit is, I go in and fight.
Yep. It worked perfectly.
Never.
Back to
I mean, to be fair, that is literally that's the connection that everyone has been making forever.
Mm-hmm.
For like all split, it was Shadow and Blabber are basically Chinese junglers stuck in the West.
Oh man, who is your or I guess for me, so my number 7, little bit lower on the list than most people's.
Oh yeah,
but
by the way, I'll just say quick comment on Canyon. Canyon good.
Canyon good. Canyon's really good. He was MVP of last year in LCK. I don't believe he was MVP this year. Who was MVP of LCK this year?
Chovy.
If it was LS, Chovy. To be fair, Chovy deserves it as well. It was.
I think it was Showmaker.
Showmaker, yes, it was Showmaker, and player of the split was BDD actually.
Hey, BDD didn't make the list.
Didn't make my list.
Didn't make the list.
Him and Peanut were
player of the year. Didn't make the list.
Him and Peanut were my cutoffs. And Deft. It was him, Peanut, and Deft. But my number 7 is Chovy.
Yeah, man, gotta make room for your gal, Loken, and 1-5, and self-made.
Oh man, I think
absolute monster.
I do have Chovy at number 7, which is much lower than many people, I would assume, on their list.
It's a lot lower. I'll say it's a lot lower than me.
And it's
for sure.
It's not a fault of Chovy in the sense that I think the players above him are just, I think he's in the same tier. I told you before, I actually struggled with my 1 through 9 on players because I consider all of these players to be like S+ level players. Like these are world champion. Like you could easily build a team to win a world championship around these teams. One actually was easy, but like after that, like 2 through 9 were really hard and could go anyway. And it just ended up that actually on my first mock draft, Chovy was number 9, but then I was like, no, I gotta have Nogri and Kanavi above him or below him. And then he's amazing. He literally 1v5s for DRX when Deft and Kyria have been really faltering. It sounds like Ryan disconnected there, but he 1v9s for Death and Kyria when they're faltering. And he's pretty much 1v9 for all of DRX and winning multiple games, considering DRX did win a large majority of their games this split. They just couldn't take down a team like DRX because DRX had all of the pieces running at once. Rip Ryan. Yeah. Welcome back, Ryan.
Am I back, by the way?
Yes, you are.
Okay,
where do you have
sure. Like, everything just went quiet on man, and I was like, come on, Discord, you're doing so well.
Where do you have Chovy on your list?
Well, I'll preface this by saying, remember when I had Kyria at number 20 because I had to give props to a player playing well when the rest of his team was playing like garbage.
Yeah.
I have Chovy number 2.
Ooh, okay, that is more normal than mine though, for sure.
I have Chovy number 2. He's legitimately super, super, super good. He is an S tier player.
S plus.
Or in conversation, yeah. But I never give anyone S plus tier.
Fair enough.
But I mean, because I think pluses, I think pluses and minuses just defeat the purpose. Of having letter
I agree.
tiers.
That's why I don't do that.
But he's close. But he's close. He's really like he's a super good player. He's basically like a reason why this team that I've been so against and so angry with so many times has actually won. It's been off his back.
Yep. The crappy drafts, crappy play, still win because of Chovy.
And he still wins, and it's because it's Chovy. Because it's certainly hell not Deft who's underperforming. Kyria is trying, but he's a support. And then his other players are freaking Doran and Piosik. That's the comparison. This dude is legitimately 1v9 and he's still a monster.
I saw something the other day about like the best mid jungle synergies going into Worlds, and it was like Caps, Yankos, Knight, Karsa, Chovy,
Canyon Showmaker, Chovy, Chovy and the blue buff. There, Chovy and blue buff.
Exactly.
Mid jungle.
Yeah, he does so well in mid lane by himself that he counts as like being a mid jungle synergy.
Yeah, I mean it's literally the point. Like you're talking about a guy who's literally his jungle duo partner half the time is an enemy team jungler.
Yeah,
he's literally like freaking 1v3 in mid jungle against the mid jungle matchup sometimes, and he's still winning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he has a massive champion pool. The dude could play pretty much anything in meta. Like he plays multiple different styles and can always carry. And on top of it, just being a good laner. I had to give him props because the dude is super good with a team that's with like pieces around him in that top side that are weak as shit. And now he has a bot lane that's underperforming as hell, and he's trying.
Yeah, and he's almost had essentially. You would think having Deft on your team and Kyria, like you wouldn't be in the situation, but they've struggled so much that he's having the Knight issue where it's Knight in 4 or Knight 1v9ing every game.
Yep.
Back in the day, and yeah, I do. Like I said, I think I have him 7th, but he has so much carry potential, but I also think Canyon and Jackie Love and the rest of the people on the list, which are very high level S tier players as well. They have just as much as well. Like easily, you can rotate 2 through 7 like any way you want it. In my opinion.
Come on, man. Just admit it. It's because it's Damwon and Jackie Love. Those are your boys.
Yeah, that's also true. And they've had more success than Chovy, per se. But
by the way, I'll mention this too. Like one of the first comments I mentioned when I had Jackie Love at number 10 and you had him number 6. It's like, oh man. It's like, oh, what a step down for Jackie Love from number 1 to number 6.
Dude, he deserved number 1 last year, and then he just he did not play Worlds well. He did not. But to get that IG, he was what Rookie was this year to IG. Like, by the way, Rookie, if he was at Worlds, would probably be in my top 3 with the way he played against the. If not top 2.
So you're willing to put a 1v9 player on a shit team, number 1 last year. But then you're going to put a 1v9 player on a shit team and put him 7th?
Well played, Ryan. I have no argument to that. Oh man, Ryan just flipped.
Like, and hey man, you know me. I'm the guy who goes in on fucking Korea, but I'm giving Chovy props. That motherfucker is a beast.
He is absolutely. I'm just like,
no wonder Svenskeren wanted to play with him.
Oh yeah, imagine like imagine Evil Geniuses with Chovy instead of Golden Glue and Jizuke.
Imagine C9 with Chovy.
Yeah, God.
Good.
I mean, Chovy good. Chovy good.
Imagine anyone with Chovy.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Except for maybe G2. G2 don't need Chovy.
Yeah.
Imagine Fnatic with Chovy.
One of the only, like, there's like 2 or 3 teams in the world that Chovy is not an immediate, massive upgrade.
Yeah. Imagine
Hell,
Fnatic with Chovy. Like I said, imagine Fnatic with Chovy. Selfmade and Chovy is a mid-jungle duo. Holy shit.
Yeah, they are they're probably better in G2 or at least at G2's level.
Oh man, don't say that. Raptor's still in the chat. He'll fight you.
I have to agree. Raptor said that because Korea is shit.
So I love how Raptor said he'd 1v9 a shit region, and then I mentioned him being in EU, and Will was like, oh yeah, he'd be better than G2. So Will's like, he just kind of half-assedly said, oh yeah, EU's a shit region. Chovy would 1v9 it.
Let's move on to number 5. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Zoom.
Zoom. Ooh, okay.
Zoom.
Yeah, I put Zoom all the way up at number 3.
The Ornn 1-trick.
He's not an Ornn 1. He's at least an Ornn Camille 2-trick.
Yeah.
Let's actually.
Camille's new. The Camille's new. It's like that's like your Camille, dude. It's like you started playing Camille.
Yeah, I want to actually see that. Let's see. Summer. Hey, actually, Zoom had more Volibear games than Ornn.
Oh, that's true.
So he did have a lot of, but he did have an 88% win rate on the Ornn. He went 8-1 on that.
Like I said, man, and I know he played a lot of fucking Ornn in spring too, when Ornn was still busted.
Yeah, Ornn. Yeah, 11. Yeah, it was his most.
Yeah, Volibear just started. Yeah, Volibear just kind of slotted in because I want to imagine how many times Ornn was banned against JDG.
Yeah,
because I feel like they probably would ban Ornn against JDG, and then he would just pick Volibear top lane.
Yeah, this year,
especially I'm pretty sure in playoffs he definitely did that.
Counting spring, he played 21 games of Ornn. His second highest is Mordekaiser at 14. He had an 85.7% win rate with a 5.3 KDA on Ornn. They almost never lost when he played Ornn. And it's because JDG is the best team fighting team in the world. Like.
Don't forget, man. Remember in spring, Zoom didn't play all of the games either.
Yeah,
he was out, and then JDG went on this massive win streak as soon as he came back into the lineup.
Yep, and it's just, I mean, he's got 4 games of Camille, 3-1 with those. He's got a set, which probably won't be relevant because I think set. He's actually never lost on set. He's 6-0 on set. But it's like, look at his team. It's Ornn, Mordekaiser to an extent. Renekton when it's on a Chinese top laner. Volibear, Wukong, Set, Gangplank. All these are team fighting. Camille's new, like you said, and it's not a team fighter. But like everything else is massive team fight engage with the ults. Like every one of those ults are massive.
After time, I feel like he's only playing Camille because Kanavi is like having one of those games where he gets like Nidalee or something, or an AP jungler, and so he'll play an AD top lane, and Kanavi will just camp the shit out of his.
Mm-hmm. It's just he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. He's the best top laner in the world.
Yes,
like without question.
Yes.
The only reason I rank him lower than some of the other people in the top 5 is because he does have players. His style is pretty telegraphed. How exactly he wants to play the game. He's only just now kind of branching out with it. Yeah, and then he also has like when he does branch out to picks like Kanavi, like to picks like Camille, then Kanavi is because they're going to telegraph that Kanavi's playing to his lane.
Yeah, okay.
That's basically it.
But I mean,
so their drafting is really good, really strong, but they're actually pretty telegraphed in how they want to
That's a very good thing. It's like it's literally telegraphed, but it's strong because they're too good at team fighting as a team. So it's like you have Lamau on Rakan, you have Zoom on Ornn, you have Yagao on Zoe or Twisted Fate. It's like all of these things. They have a front line. Zoe pokes behind it. They have engaged with Rakan. They have engaged with Ornn, and then they just win every team fight. Every single team fight, they just win it.
Yeah, that's why you would have mentioned like Rogue turned into like the FlyQuest of Europe. Well, Zoom and JDG, they're basically just like the final form of Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Where they could have a quote unquote small champion pool and they play the same things all the time, but it doesn't fucking matter because they'll just beat you all the time with it. And there's nothing, even banning it out doesn't stop them.
Yeah, I agree. It's just not
to say that Jensen is on the level, but is like on the level with Yagao, but that's an insult to Jensen, in my opinion. Yagao's good, but come on, man.
He's so good. He is so underrated, in my opinion. It's because if he plays
Ghost is underrated. Yagao is Yagao. He's rated.
I think Yagao is underrated. It's like you said, it is the final form.
Angel is underrated.
That's true.
Yagao is just rated.
But I think what you said about them being the final form of Team Liquid is true. If Team Liquid every one of them could have 3 to 5 champions that they are unbeatable with, no one can ban you out.
Oh, and by the way, I say this as the final form of Team Liquid. This is final form of Team Liquid if they had a jungler that existed.
Yeah, also, yeah. That's another... We brought it up with Suning also being a better form of Team Liquid. That means Team Liquid's playing kind of the right way for the meta. It's just the jungle issue. They're not aggressive, which they brought Broxah to be aggressive, so I don't know if it's on Broxah or if it's on the team telling him not to be aggressive. But if he was aggressive, Team Liquid would be a much better team. Probably be the champions at the moment, in my opinion.
If he played every jungle matchup like he plays Lee Sin,
it'd be amazing. Well, he doesn't know because he doesn't. He farms on Lee Sin, and they just win. Yeah, dude.
That's true. Magikarp is TL, Gyarados is JDG.
Yeah, it's like that's actually. If Broxah, so I don't know if it's Broxah, and I don't know if it's just Team Liquid as a team telling him no, you have to play like safe or like just farm up and like just maybe gank a lane or two, but don't play like over aggressive because your laners aren't going to follow you. Like maybe Jensen's saying he's not going to follow on the invade, or bot lane's not going to follow on the invade, or something like that. But if Broxah was as aggressive as he was in 2018 on this Team Liquid team, and they would have won Summer, and they would probably be one of my favorites, if not the favorite, to get out of that Group C. In that sense, if he was playing that aggressive. However, that's not happening, so they're going to probably either Group A or Group B, and I don't think they win either of them no matter what. They go, they maybe can take a game off Rogue. Maybe if they go to Group B, they're not going to take a game off the other two. And if they go to Group A, they'll probably 2-0 Maki, but they're not going to take a game off G2 unless they have a better chance to take a game off G2 than Suning because G2 trolled. This is the only chance they have. Like, that's it. It's the level 5 Magikarp you get from the dude in Pokemon Center. Oh, man. All right. Who's your number 4?
My number 4, this is actually kind of I kind of had a back and forth between him and Zoom, but I decided to just settle on this. My number 4 is Showmaker.
Ooh, you have Showmaker at number 4. Showmaker's name is...
Tell us where you put Showmaker, Will.
Oh, I put Showmaker at number 2. Absolutely. I am proud of that.
So Will's wrong. So Will is wrong again.
No, I'm not wrong. Showmaker.
Will is wrong. Will is wrong again.
No, Showmaker is
Damwon fanboy picking at a mid laner that actually has a good jungler.
Yes, he has a good jungler, but have you seen what Showmaker has done in the LCK? He is in the LCK. Actually, we talk about Chovy being amazing and fantastic. Showmaker destroyed Chovy in their 1v1 matchups. Like, that's one of the main reasons why Chovy was 7 and Showmaker was 2, because even Chovy does have to 1v9 where Showmaker does not have to do that anymore, but he is easily the top 2. top 3 mid laner in the world. Maybe Rookie would be up there for me. Because Rookie played out of his damn mind in those games, and I feel so bad that he's not at Worlds. But but that is easily my top 3 mid laners right now by a decent margin. Is my number one.
I say my top 3 mid laners. The number 1 on this list: Showmaker and Zoom,
and Rookie, who did not make Worlds. So
and PP God.
Yeah, PP God's is number 1 on all roles.
He's the unofficial number 0.
All right, so I know who who our number 4 and number 3 have to be the same player, obviously. There's only 2 players left on this list. For
number 4, Knight. No.
No, my number 4 is
dude, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to.
No.
I wanted to so bad.
You're gonna ESPN
I'm not even gonna lie. I was gonna, but I do have Caps as my number 3.
You remember last year, ESPN? You blame me for Jackie Love number 1. ESPN had Jankos number 1 last year. I had him like number 4 or 5, but not number 1.
No. Well, that doesn't mean you're right. It just means you're both wrong.
Fair, but I was less wrong about it. Cap's really good. Best Western player in the world by far, in my opinion. Like we have Wonder as the second best Western player. Both on the same team, weirdly enough. Weirdly enough, it's the one team we think is good. Has a chance.
That's literally what I expected. I expected literally no Western players to make it aside from G2 solo lanes. And it's literally only because players like Perks, Mickey, and Jankos have been inconsistent to just bad at times.
Yes. And
Caps was a shoe-in for my top 5. Like, it's not even close.
Easily.
He was I legitimately debated putting him as second.
Okay, that's yeah. I mean,
but I looked at the fact that Chovy has to play players like Showmaker, and he has a jungler like Piosik, who Jankos sometimes he does exist and he does play well, and he does have a top laner that can actually carry.
Mm-hmm.
Chovy doesn't have those things.
Chovy's supposed to have a bot lane that can carry.
But, I know that's even the worst. But I call it a wash because Cap's supposed to have that too.
Yeah, that's fair. They're both the bot lanes are struggling, but yeah, Cap's really good.
I think Caps and Chovy are like interchangeable to me right now. They're both, and I have them up here for similar reasons. Eye test and genuine just carry power. Like they're super good as players. And it's like they are like the 2 players that have to try the most.
Yeah, and
they are legit like 1v9 players.
I think if you had to name the top 5 mid laners at World, I think it's such a stark difference between the rest of the mid laners and the top 5, including Rookie for this sake, because I would include Rookie in the top 5.
You're never gonna let that guy go, man.
It's just
let him die in peace.
No, it's like Knight last year, where Knight would have been like number 1 last year, and he never made Worlds. He didn't make Worlds. But
what about Closer?
Yeah, Closer.
I wanted to see Closer at Worlds.
I did want to see Closer. I wanted to see both Closers at Worlds. But I
just want to see Closer versus like Knight.
Yeah.
Or Closer versus freaking like Buddy. I just want to see Closer at Worlds, man.
But the level that Knight, Showmaker, Caps, and Chovy for the people at Worlds, and then Rookie. Those are the top 5. After that, it falls off significantly. They're still really good players, but like the players like BDD and Yagao and stuff like that are not at the same level as those. Those 5 are
Stop putting Yagao into this conversation, man.
Yagao is there. Yagao is there.
Stop it. If Yagao's there, Angel is there.
Let's
I'm
see.
just gonna say it. If Yagao is there, Angel is there. If Angel is there, GA is there.
No, I'll tell you my mid at Worlds list. I have Knight number 1, Showmaker number 2, Caps number 3.
Oh my God! Spoilers.
Chovy number 4, Yagao 5, BDD 6, Larson 7, GA 8, Bjergsen number 9, Angel 10, PoE 11, Jensen 12. Humanoid 13, Nemesis 14, Mission 15, Uniboy 16.
Wow, you actually had Humanoid below all the NA mid laners. I mean, I can imagine below Bjergsen, but I'm actually kind of surprised.
I mean, they're really close. It's 11, 12, 13, but yes, I do actually have Humanoid below Jensen and PoE.
Rip Fnatic. That's right.
And then,
Deservedly so. Be better.
and Nemesis is 14th out of 14 for major regions.
Yikes. The humanoid's right there.
Can you argue? Can you argue it though?
Am I wrong? Why are you booing me? I'm right.
No, I mean, like, you can argue maybe humanoid's better than Jensen, or I don't know if you can argue he's better than Power of Evil though, in my opinion. But humanoid's better than Nemesis, but I don't think he's better than Jensen. Definitely not better than Power of Evil.
I just think it's like the Eric Andre sketch where everyone's yelling, it's like, "Oh, who wants 2 more years from Obama?" And everyone starts cheering. It's not 2 more years; it's 4 years if he's elected again. And everyone starts booing him. It's like, "Why are you booing me? I'm right." Oh my god. Oh my god, Raptor, that's cute. Clip this now and at you after Fnatic shits on JDG in quarters.
Yeah,
yeah, that's implying that Fnatic gets out of groups.
Do you want to know who my worst ADC was going to Worlds?
Wait, the worst ADC?
From the major regions.
Oh, I was going to say, it's like, hold on, I need to think about this.
No.
The worst ADC, it's Unified because it's not there.
Yeah, well, not counting PSG. Sorry. Unified was 15 and Bruce was 16, but...
Let's see. I'm trying to... it's like, does Will still count the PCS as a major?
Yes, not counting those.
Oh, well, so now you don't count. Are you calling Perks the worst ADC?
No, I am not calling Perks the worst ADC.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that's like, if you did, that'd be kind of troll. He's not that bad.
He was 11th out of 14.
It can't be any of the LPL teams. You would not.
Oh no,
any of the LPL teams
LPLs are Jackie Love number 1.
Do you have it as Deft?
No. Jackie Love's number 1. Loken's number 3.
Oh no, that's right. Because you have Deft above Ghost because you're dumb. Because you're dumb and wrong. Is it Turtle?
It is Turtle, but it's close. It's close.
That's mean.
Do you want to know his second? You know who second worst has been though?
Tactical.
Nope, Doublelift.
That's fair.
I actually have Tactical as number 9 ADC.
Really?
Yes.
Wait,
number 10. Sorry, number 10. Sorry, 10 because I changed.
I was gonna say, he's like, wait a minute, do you have him above Perks?
No. So Perks was Perks and Tactical are right next to each other actually because I forgot Ghost had to move up because I totally messed Ghost ranking up. So Tactical and
terrible. You're welcome, by the way. I rectified your mistake.
You did. But I think Tactical and Perks are about the same level at the moment, which is shows like, oh, by the way, Knight is number 1. I did it right there.
I thought we were gonna do like a countdown. Just 1, 2, 3, Knight.
No. Everyone knows Knight's number 1. If you don't know,
yeah. Now you know.
Now you know. Knight was gonna be number 1 at Worlds if he made Worlds last year. He made Worlds finally for the first time ever, and he's here, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Oh man, he's.
I want to say, Knight is like if we're talking about like Chovy and Caps as like 1v9 mid laners. Knight was born and raised in the 1v9.
So long. This guy barely missed Worlds every year. And he's so good. By himself.
And if you were talking about legitimate 1v9, like the dude literally came out with the most clutch plays to win them their number 1 seed at Worlds.
Mm-hmm. The final versus JDG. Syndra done completely through the Dragon Pit. Oh, man.
Yeah. Hit him with the Zoe bubble playing Syndra.
Yeah. I'm curious. I want to see if you can guess off my list since we have our World Top 20. Since I did rank them all, can you name top to bottom the best at each position for each region at each position? This does not include PCS, by the way.
The best at each position in each region.
So like essentially, which region has the best in top lane? Like best, second best, third best, fourth best in top lane. Jungle.
I mean, I could literally look at my top 20 list and I can say, well, the LPL has the best mid laner and the best top laner and the best jungler.
They have the best support. The best total, but I meant overall as a region. The 4 in the LPL that are going there, the 3 in Korea and stuff like that. I broke it out by like adding the numbers and dividing by people going, and I was kind of surprised with some of it. Makes a lot of sense. Actually, how about this? It's It's actually funny. It's a 3-way tie for the best position for a region at a role. Can you guess what the 3 roles are and what regions or that they come from?
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure actually. I'm trying to think. It's like it's like I don't know. It feels like there's like a stark difference. I want to say it's probably jungle because I feel like there's a lot of decent jungle picks.
Jungle is the best for what region? Oops. Which region is bringing the best junglers?
I want to say it's probably Korea actually.
Ooh, no. I have China.
Yeah, I was torn between China and Korea, but I feel like Canyon might have. I thought like Canyon might have skewed the results.
No. Well,
he's one. He's like a top 5 junk. He's the top 5 player.
He is number
and
1.
He's only one, and he's the one.
He is number 1. Pyosik drags it down a lot. He is 12th on my list here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say LPL was probably my second one up, just because literally you have like your players are Kanavi, Karsa, SOFM, and Peanut.
I am not dropping frames, by the way, for Raptor. I don't have any warnings here for dropping frames. It's on your side apparently.
Yeah, and I do still have the stream running on my end too. It's the stream's actually been kind of fine.
It's so I'll just go through the top 3 positions. Were actually all in the LPL. The best is their top, jungle, and ADC, where they average being 3.75 for the ranking for me. Which
yeah,
I know I haven't.
I was thinking it's probably going to be like support and mid lane. It was
actually
closer
the best
because LCK at least has 2 good ones.
The best support is actually Korea LCK. They had a 5.6 where LPL had a 6.5 average score. The worst.
That's because you didn't rank Laval properly.
I will say, can you guess? There is only one role where NA is not the worst. Can you guess the role?
The one role where NA is not the worst.
Yes.
Well, it's definitely not ADC. It's definitely not ADC.
ADC is
because
ADC is actually their second worst role.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not that one. Support.
No.
Is it mid?
No.
There's no way it's top lane.
Top lane.
Oh my god, are you serious?
That's
because Finn drags it down so damn
Finn
much.
drags it down. Finn drags it down.
Oh my god. That's what I know.
They barely edged out.
I tried because I was trying to think about like, well, no, ADC. I was like, I know because like Turtle is ranked low and like Tactical is not like the best. But and like the others aren't like as bad as that. But I was like, oh well, mid at least has like Bjergsen and Bjergsen, Jensen, and Poe is actually a pretty solid lineup for mid lane. So I thought the mid lane might be it. And it's like, well, I know jungle's probably not it because Broxton's on the list.
Yeah, it's actually.
But
the
jungle is actually top lane. It's like
NA jungle is actually the worst of all positions rating wise.
It's bad because Spica is unproven, so you can't rank him highly. Santorin is good, but he's
Santorin's
Santorin.
10
and then Broxa is just Broxa might as well not even be on the list. He'd actually bring the average up by not existing.
Yeah, I put Santorin 10, Jankos 11, Pyosik 12, Spica 13, Broxa 14 for the bottom part of it. And so that put NA at an average of 12.33 for jungle. But top lane, they edge out EU. EU had an average of 10th place, even though they have Wonder and Bwipo at 8. I have Wonder 4, Bwipo. No, Bwipo 7. Sorry, I forgot to change that. So Bwipo was 7. Solo was supposed to be 8. So let me make sure that actually is still a.
Make sure your heads up. Make sure.
That might change it.
Turns out Fint is not that heavy.
16 divided by 4 is a 9.75 for EU. And NA is a 10 for Impact, 11 for Broken Blade, 8 for Solo. Divided by 3, 9.6 is they still edge out.
Barely. By like less than a tenth of a point. Less like 100th of a point.
Yep. It's so
fucking
close. But yeah.
Yikes.
Nogri really brings up the average for what's it called? Korea, because Rascal and Doran are not strong either. It's gonna be top lane dominant. It's gonna be Wonder and the rest of the world facing Wonder and Nogri facing LPL, while the rest of the world just gets annihilated.
Bin.
Put
him in the trash bin.
Bin's not bad. I know. Compared to the rest,
you don't get it. No, there's a comma in that sentence. It's put them in the trash. Comma bin.
I actually had Bin as the 5th best top laner because top lane is that weak in this world's.
That's fair.
Like the only ones I have.
And he's still good, but it's like he's like to say he's top 5 is still kind of odd to say.
Yeah, because it's Longshu and then Whippo and then Solo, so it's like they're there. Solo. Rascal's even number 9. Rascal made top 10 on this list, and that shows how weak it is.
Rascal.
All right. Let's talk predictions.
Imagine if Roach is on this list.
Oh God, no. Oh God, he'd be so low.
Roach and Cuz.
All right, where can I make predictions? Let's put William here, Ryan here. We'll just do predictions.
Here we go.
Right up here. 218. All right. So.
Remember you said, "Oh man, it's probably not gonna be a long cast today."
I know. Well, then I had to
3 hours. Yeah. Well, I mean, the cast never stopped. The cast didn't stop. I was still talking.
That's fair, actually. How much did you guys flame me?
Not that much. There wasn't too much of a difference as well. I mean, the only closest thing we had to flame was the Jackie Love.
Okay. Jackie Love fanboy here. Sorry.
Yeah, the flame came later when you came back and you're like, "Oh, Chovy 7."
All right, so we have a lot of games to predict here, so we're gonna just rapid fire them. I'm assuming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, I think there's probably not going to be too much discussion for a lot of these games. There's only like a couple of games of interest.
We have to predict 20 games.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 20 games. We'll see who wins. Well, I never added up our total scores. I know I beat you, but it wasn't by much. But
by the way, I hope Strafe has these in the right order.
They better. Well, we'll find out, I guess. Game number 1 is Mad Lions versus INTZ.
Picking the upset?
Nope.
Nope. I got Mad Lions.
Hang on, let me make sure. I do not have 20 here, so we're actually just going to copy this, and we're going to put it down here on the bottom because we need 20 lines. I have Mad, you have Mad. So, yeah, like you said, 20 games, but a lot of these are going to be pretty easy.
I'm actually you may have to bump up the size of the.
Yep. Boop. Where's this at? 34, so we need to go to 54 on the list, like that, and then we're gonna put the font to 18. There we go. Okay. All right. PSG versus Rainbow Seven. Will Rainbow Seven make the upset of PSG with their first game with Uniboy and Kongyu?
Yes.
Oh, I like it. Hell yeah. I did not think so because I think
I know you didn't think so because that's your boys, boys in the PCS.
But damn, you
Paris Saint-Germain are going to fall.
You got Rainbow Seven upsetting PSG in the first game or the first game for them in this round robin.
Yeah.
Woo.
Believe.
I like it. I want to see the spice. I listen. Outside of major regions most likely making it, as long as these teams compete and show quality League of Legends, I'm satisfied with it every time.
Jose Dioto versus the world. That's true.
Jose versus
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker.
Ryan's picking Rainbow Seven to go all the way to groups.
I mean, just wait.
Oh, Jesus Christ, don't tell me that. Legacy.
Oh God, he's dead. We killed him.
Oh, Legacy versus INTZ. It's got to be INTZ for me. I don't like Legacy. Like I said, like we've mentioned, they can't scrim against other people. They lost half of their top tier talent. I want to see how they perform at Worlds before I can actually pick them. Unfortunately, I don't get that luxury, so we got to pick them now, and I'm picking INTZ.
Yeah, I got Legacy.
Hell yeah! They did win a lot of games.
We're just gonna
get a lot of differences here.
Oh, probably. Remember, this is me picking wildcard teams.
I know this is the first time you've been on the wildcard section.
If you lose to me in the wildcard section at play-ins,
that's not good. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we will.
No, we don't. No, we're not going to talk about it. Team Liquid versus Mad. Oh no, sorry.
No.
LGD versus PSG.
I mean, we might as well skip this one because it's LGD.
Yes.
if LGD lose this, then oh god.
Oh god. Well, to be fair, they are like IG.
Especially if PSG lose to Rainbow Seven and then they beat LGD, it's over.
They are like IG.
Worlds is canceled.
Like where IG could lose to any team in the world at any point, but they could also beat any team in the world at any point. So they're
I don't know if LGD can beat any team in the world, but okay.
That's fair. IG could have at some points, but then Shy likes to run it down instead. Team
LGD.
TL versus Mad, the most important game of the entire play-in stage. All 4 days.
Day one.
Day one, very first game for Team Liquid. Do they win it?
Team Liquid? I have Mad Lions to win.
I'm a little bit of a fanboy here, but I picked Team Liquid to beat Mad Lions. I think I picked it.
Oh, I figured you would. You ranked them higher.
I did not. I picked Mad Lions at 13th and Team Liquid at 14th.
No, you said that they're the better team.
No, I think the situation of this is actually beneficial for Team Liquid because Team Liquid doesn't have to do shit until day 4. So all they have, literally day 2, they face Legacy, which is fine. But like they only have 2 games in the first 2 days. And Legacy, like I mentioned, is one of the weakest teams. And I think without any prep, you could still just beat them flat out, in my opinion. So Team Liquid can put 100% of their prep just purely into this Mad Lions game. Only
you think Mad Lions don't think the same way though?
They could, but at the same time, Mad Lions has to play 3 games while Team Liquid only has to play 2, and they have to play against both of the tougher teams with INTZ and Supermassive, which I think do need some type of prep compared to Legacy. TL could get spanked, Raptor. Okay, they could. But
they're gonna get spanked, dude.
I don't know if they will.
They're gonna get beat they're gonna get beat bad.
No,
Jensen is not gonna get lane advantages versus human. A Rome versus Impact is a wash. Bot lane is a wash. And now you're talking about Shadow having a free reign of the jungle.
It literally depends on if Shadow ends or not. This is how this game's gonna go down.
He has no pressure to.
Yeah, but he can still.
He's under no pressure to end.
He's under pressure of being at Worlds.
He doesn't care about that. Why does he care?
You don't know that. Mad Lions have struggled in clutch moments.
No, it's fine. It's not clutch. It's the first game.
But I think it's not. I don't think it's gonna be a stomp either way. I actually think
Team Liquid's been fucking losing in clutch moments.
That is fair.
Where the hell was Team Liquid's clutch factor in playoffs?
That did not exist.
The closest thing was freaking Golden Guardians. It's because Golden Guardians were playing like shit at freaking 3/5 of the map.
Yep.
And then even then, they were getting 2v2 killed in the bot lane.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I think after that situation, Tactical actually stepped up a lot more in the playoffs. Poor JJ still struggled all playoffs pretty much. It was kind of weird, actually.
Yeah, when FlyQuest inted into them and just gave him his freaking turnaround kill on Kalista in his life.
Good. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good when they just randomly jumped into 4 people again.
Fair. But yeah, we actually have on the first day. There's 5 games. We have 3 differences. That's some spice. I like it.
Yep.
We will see. Maybe my wildcard team with Team Liquid will beat your other wildcard team predictions. It might.
We got day 2 next.
Day 2 is Rainbow Seven versus the V3.
This will be kind of interesting.
I have Rainbow Seven winning this game. It will be a very interesting game. I mentioned it earlier, like 3 hours ago when we started this podcast. The winner of this game, in my opinion, probably moves on to the next round, where the loser will go 0-3 or 0-4 in groups.
I have V3.
Oh, you have. So you have Rainbow Seven upsetting PSG, but then losing to V3.
It's not an upset. PSG are coming in nerfed.
They're coming in nerfed, but Ryan.
They're coming in nerfed.
Ryan.
They're coming in.
Ryan.
Jose Diota's gonna roll up in here and whoop some ass.
So why is he not gonna do that to V3?
Because V3 is good. Don't sleep on Japan.
I love Japan. Like I said, I am a massive wildcard fanboy.
This is a setup, man. I told you I have this all mapped out down to the best of fives. Just wait.
Ryan, no.
Bring in the hot pot.
The spice is too spicy. Ents versus Supermassive.
The curry is too much.
Ents versus Supermassive. I have Supermassive winning against INTZ.
I also have Paparo Supermassive.
They're just Supermassive.
There's Paparo Supermassive.
Nope, not in my mind. Oops.
Projectas Esports.
Unicorns of Love versus V3?
Unicorns of Love.
Okay. Just making sure the spice wasn't overbearing. Unicorns of Love, a very good team. So good.
Yeah. All right. LGD versus Rainbow 7.
LGD versus Rainbow 7, Ryan.
The LGD can lose to any team.
They could.
Peanut could have inted to Jose Diota.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's too much for Jose Diota to actually carry.
Nah, dude.
No, it's too much. Too much. Unfortunately.
If only Ryan was here.
Ryan got eliminated.
This group would be great. It'd have Jose Diota and freaking Peanut and Ryan.
You're just salty that PSG or you got knocked out of the playoffs. PSG's here instead.
Pineapple. It'd be Ryan and Pineapple and Peanut.
That's all it is.
Then we had Pancake. Peanut, Pineapple, Pancake, Cupcake, and then Husky Rider. Some of the freaking the wildcard teams having the wild ass names.
They have the best names. Oh man, Unicorns of Love versus PSG.
Unicorns of Love.
Unicorns of Love is
especially versus a nerfed PSG.
Yeah, I agree. I think that PSG versus Unicorns of Love pretty much were an equal level. I believe I had Unicorns of Love at 15, PSG at 17, but like they were at the equal tier, like almost at the same time. But then like being nerfed lowered PSG so much more. Just off synergy, because the players they got aren't really nerfs, remember? Like the mid and jungle are actually upgrades for them. But synergy,
then you have D and synergy.
Yeah, D might be trouble. That was new. That was new information. That's more recent. But that's only for the first 2 days, which unfortunately is what we're talking about. Which their hardest. They would only bring him back for V3. Oh, that sucks. Scheduling wise, screwed him too.
He was bad, man.
But Supermassive versus Mad Lions.
Mad Lions for me.
Mad Lions, yeah. I don't think. Though Mad Lions did say they lost scrims to Supermassive before. So
I mean, they also said they lost scrims to freaking Love. But guess what? How much scrims mean as a C9 fan?
Nothing. All right. TL versus Legacy. Is NA upset by a wild card? No.
I mean, they might be, but no. Not by Legacy.
Fair enough. All right. Day 3. V3 versus LGD. LGD.
LGD.
Yep. Rainbow 7 versus Unicorns of Love.
Unicorns of Love.
Yep. Man, so you have Unicorns of Love starting out 3-0 in playing stage.
Setting up for a big showdown later.
Hell yeah.
Later in day 3.
PSG versus V3. I picked PSG. I want to know your answer.
V3.
You have PSG going 0-4
Yes.
in plans.
Yes.
If you are right, you are gonna crush me in these games. But oof.
I know it's a big oof, but
oof,
whatever.
man. Hey, you're
Hey
picking
man,
balls.
at the end of the day, what's gonna happen is like, oh, either I win and I look like an absolute genius, or I lose, and it's just because you know more about wild cards than I do. So
Ryan's bringing the whole spice market.
yeah, no, I am the spice rack.
Ryan's the main spice Ryan's bringing is salt because Ryan didn't make it out of the PSG or out of the PCS. The PSG did.
The PSG. The PSG.
This is the main spice he's bringing.
Nah, dude, fuck Nova. If PSG just need to pick me up. They need to pick up Ryan as their substitute jungler.
That's why. He's just salty. He's just salty.
That's why. They needed to pick me. I would have been there. If we win that, we would have carried.
All right.
It would have been fine. My pink would have been good for once.
Oh, man. Unicorns of Love versus LGD. Show match of 3-0 versus 3-0 for both of us, by the way.
Yeah, this is kind of a rough one because they both had to play earlier in the day, so they both got kind of warm-up games, but Unicorns did play earlier, or like more recently leading up to this. But even then, I would still give it to LGD.
Yes, I think
But I feel like this game would actually be kind of interesting because I feel like there is the upset potential.
Outside of
there's a team that's going to beat LGD in play-ins, it's going to be.
Yeah, outside of Team Liquid versus Mad Lions, this is the closest game of all of closest best game like level wise.
I mean, those are it's literally the two teams
we
from
could
both groups
we could say
that
stuff
we consider
like
to be the top two teams.
Yeah. I was actually thinking PSG would be the top team until all this top two team until all this stuff happened.
I wouldn't have anyway.
You're right.
You saw how I kind of put that. You saw how I kind of put them on the same level as Machi.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you have Machi going 0-6 in their group.
We'll get to that.
But all right, day number 4, the last day. So we haven't had as many differences. Like we have 1 here, 2, and then we have 5 differences total so far after 20 games or after 16 games.
And almost all of them involve either INTZ, Legacy, or V3.
Yeah. INTZ, versus T. Oh no, the font is small again. All right, so Supermassive versus Team Liquid.
By the way, this is why I legitimately saw this coming because you and I had INTZ and V3 flipped on our power rankings.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be predictions really interesting.
Right. Team Liquid.
I have Team Liquid as well. I would say this is probably like the third match that I would imagine that an upset could happen.
Yes, because of Kakao versus Broxah. It's actually pretty equal.
I think just in general, Turkish players, like the Turkish strength of players, are actually pretty
good. The Supermassive is a powerhouse team. Mad versus Legacy.
Their strength is super massive.
Mad versus Legacy, right?
Mad Lions.
Mad
Lions.
Does Team Liquid get upset to INTZ to finish?
Do they lose to Ints again?
Do they lose to Ints after, my opinion,
they may or may not have lost to its scrims?
Listen, times are tough.
I do have Team Liquid.
Oh man, your boy though. Versus Broxah.
Okay. It's Ints, dude.
It's Ints. Fair enough. You do have Ents as your worst team in the at Worlds. Yep. So then, Supermassive versus Legacy to wrap it up.
Supermassive
for me too. So that puts us at what is our rankings at the end of
don't worry, Will. Will. I can tell you exactly where my rankings are because I wrote them down and mapped them out.
All right. So I have 4-0 for Team Liquid.
And I have 4-0 for Mad Lions.
All right. I have 3-1 for Mad Lions.
And the opposite for me, Team Liquid 3-1.
I don't remember. So Legacy I have going.
I think you have Legacy going
0-4, I think.
4. I have INTZ going 0.
So you have INTZ going 0-4. I have Legacy going.
I'm pretty sure we both have Supermassive going 2-2.
2-2.
Losing to the top two, but beating the other two.
Yep, and then
I have Legacy 1.
Yep. So we are
close. That would mean for me, Mad Lions would auto qualify to groups, and INTZ would be out.
Yes, and I have. I'll make the font bigger here, but I have Team Liquid auto qualifying to groups. Mad Lions is the number 2 team, and then Supermassive and INTZ facing each other in the best of 5, while Legacy is out.
Yep, and mine is Supermassive versus Legacy.
Hang on, let me just do this.
And then for Group 2...
Hang on 1 sec, let me just put...
Or I'm not sure. I never remember if they're A or B, but I just kind of wrote down 1 and 2 just for my notes.
All right, yeah, Group A and B. So I have LGD.
I think we both have LGD. I think pretty sure we both have LGD and UOL 1 and 2, 4-0 and 3-1.
Yep.
But this is where the difference comes in.
PSG, I have 2 and 2.
And I have V3 2 and 2.
I have V3 0 and 4.
Yep, and I have PSG 0
and then I have Rainbow 7
with Rainbow 7 1 and 3.
So
ours is just we have V3 and PSG flip.
Yeah, interesting. So I forgot you have Rainbow 7 beating PSG but losing to Victory, or not Victory 5. V3.
Victory 5. Oh god, they made it.
They made it. Yeah. So from mine I would have Rainbow 7 and PSG, and then from these are hypotheticals, we will still make predictions just in case they're wrong. Obviously.
Yeah. I still have predictions. Like I said, I still have predictions down to the game score. I told you, I have it all written out.
Yeah. Well, I would have Mad versus PSG in the finals versus Unicorns of Love and Supermassive in the finals, and then Unicorns of Love and Mad move on probably. But that's a spoiler for next week if it goes exactly how I predict it.
Oh yeah, in my predictions, I have it would be Supermassive versus Legacy. I would have Supermassive advancing V3 versus Rainbow 7. I would have V3 advancing barely in a 3-2 series. It goes to 5 games. Rainbow 7 goes to 5 games again, and then the finals it would be Supermassive versus Unicorns 1, and then V3 versus Team Liquid. Japan unfortunately gets heartbroken by NA again as Team Liquid is.
Ryan predicting V3 to make it one best of 5 series away from putting a team from Japan in groups.
Yeah, dude, they're making it.
Hell yeah.
One of these days. They're getting there.
I love it.
Screaming Korea, the best region in the world.
I'm just so excited that we're finally about to get the Worlds. I can already not wait till Friday.
We're almost there, man.
We are almost.
Can't wait till Friday when I'm either at work, like working a 12-hour shift again overnight, or I'm desperately trying to catch up and sleep.
Will you be free? I'm sure we could talk about this later, but do you know if you will be free? Because we can't. I was thinking of doing the podcast on Monday of next week.
Let me see. Actually, I'm trying to fill out drilling. But I don't think I'll be able to do it on Monday next week.
What about Sunday? Because it is potential that.
Because Sunday, I actually might be able to do that because I should be off. I should be off next week.
Hypothetically,
so this Sunday was just weird because I kind of like swapped this Sunday and last Sunday just because I initially was planning on going to a wedding that a friend of mine was having, but had some issues come up with that, so it ended up just being a day off.
I can't wait to see my team lose.
Next weekend is my weekend off.
Okay, that we might be able to do Sunday because Sunday's games won't have occurred yet. The Supermassive Team Liquid type ones that start out with that.
Yeah.
But that group should hypothetically be over.
Oh my god! I'm just imagining we do the podcast and it's like, oh, Supermassive beats Team Liquid. I'm like, oh shit. Well, damn it! Now everything's gone to hell.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be hilarious. So you go on podcast and it's like, oh man, everything like PSG's already out. I'm like, oh god. Was right.
PSG would be out. They would be done, but according to your rankings or your predictions, but depending, because hypothetically speaking, Team Liquid versus Mad is day 1, so we will find out the winner of the group probably through there, and then the rest of it going
unless
day 4 is super spicy, where Team Liquid would have to lose both games at that point, unless they've lost earlier to Legacy on day 2. But if they didn't, they'd have to lose both to Supermassive and ITZ to actually lose to Mad if they beat Mad in the first place. However, yeah, we'll see. It will probably be over. It will probably be over.
It's going to be interesting. It's Worlds, baby.
And then we will make our predictions through there for the qualification rounds and the elimination rounds on Tuesday and Wednesday of that group. And then group stage starts that week as well, doesn't it? I think.
It does, actually. I think it starts
10-3. 10-3. Where's 10-3? It starts Saturday, that group.
Oh, it's a Saturday.
So we'd have to make predictions for that Saturday and that Sunday.
Oh, and if UOL and freaking Team Liquid get out, we have to predict who goes in the group.
Damn it.
Oh, no.
Well, that should.
We have to predict who goes into what group.
Let's see. Well,
this sucks.
They would also.
I don't know if your boys in the PCS make it in, at least make it.
Yeah, it would make it easier.
We won't know that.
But it also is against Rogue too, because if it was at least against JDG or Damwon, it's probably Rogue's gonna win either way. But if it was against JDG or Damwon, it would be 100% chance they win. And then because the other one's against Maki, JDG, so like that's day 2, so it wouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah.
Because they'd probably beat Maki, either one of them, and they'd probably lose to JDG, and then so it's really just that Rogue game. And honestly, Rogue probably beats them either way. But we will talk about that next week. Let's wrap up, I think.
Yep. We did a lot.
Yeah, we did a lot. It was a 3.5 hour podcast that was only about Worlds. So, pretty fun. This will be the longest Worlds podcast, I'm assuming, because we won't have to do top 20s anymore or power rankings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Most we'll do is maybe like a couple of like VOD reviews or match reviews or that sort of.
Yes. But
talk about who's disappointing us.
Yep.
Like we can give our failing grades to people.
Why it's so amazing that NA has 3 teams coming out of groups.
We can talk about like how Royal Youth are still disappointing us 1 year later.
Don't want to talk about Royal Youth. I hate them. So the best team I ever saw in the wildcard region until Unicorns of Love this year, and they just disappointed me. Though to be fair, Unicorns of Love last year was the second best wildcard team I'd ever seen.
By the way, I'm not gonna lie, freaking like Royal Youth. That sounds like the freaking amateur league team
for Royal RNG. Yeah.
Short podcast, by the way.
Yeah, short podcast, by the way.
To be fair, we've gone longer before. And we literally listed out we tiered up all 22 teams and then gave our separate list of 20 players.
Yeah, and then made
predictions.
So there was a bunch still,
and flamed Will. We had to make time for that.
I had them eat dinner in the middle. I can't believe that blew my mind.
And a dog was there.
A dog was there. Alrighty. Well, time to wrap up for this podcast. Thank you so much for coming out to watch, Raptor, and the others that were here for moments. Appreciate it. We will be doing podcasts either next Sunday or next Monday, depending on the scenario. Most likely probably Sunday, though, to get Ryan on here as well, if he's available. And, that will be fun, because get ready for groups, and I'm so excited. Or get ready for play-ins. I'm so excited to have people watch the wildcard teams that we hyped up all year. Yeah. Hopefully they don't disappoint.
Yeah, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe.
Nope.
Jump in the comments. Enjoy the discussion.
We're ending now.